new Onslaught season brings the same much-loved competitive battles, with a few improvements. The 5 weekly missions no longer expire at the end of the week, but remain available until the season finishes. You can complete them later and play at your own pace, but try not to leave them all to the last minute. Instead of increased shell resistance, completing all missions will get you a token that you can exchange for any improved equipment. The team lists now have more info. You still won't be able to see unspotted enemy vehicles, but now you can see players' names, platoons, and ranks. All this info is available both during battle and before it, on the loading screen and during pre-battle prep. Redshire has been removed from the Onslaught maps. Tundra and Prokhorovka have been added. And the latter has changed notably for the mode. Countryside engagements are going to be heated. Outpost now has more cover, and some of the points of interest have moved. We've also rebalanced the role skills. You can see a full list of the changes in the article on the game portal. It's now far simpler to assemble platoons in Onslaught. Instead of rating points, the game now checks players' ranks. You can invite a player 1 rank higher or lower than you to join a platoon. For super platoons of 7 players, a difference of 2 ranks either way applies. Incidentally, it's now a little easier to reach the highest rank. Now, not just 10, but a whole 15% of players on the leaderboard are legends. After battles, don't forget to claim your rewards. The banner in the in-game store will remind you. It will take you directly to the Onslaught shop. Fight in this season to get closer to the annual reward, the Stinger. You can only get it in Onslaught, so make sure your Tier 10s are ready. If you don't have many, use this season's rental vehicles, the T110 E5, Centurion Action X, and Bliskavica. Happy onslaughtering.
那么我们恭喜 Hit 战队获得2023 W 赛坦克世界冠军赛国际决赛的总冠军。
So after we lost to Storm in qualification, yeah?
Struggled the day before. We nearly lost against Dopamine.
A lot of fans, especially the Polish fans.
The main reason of our downfall, let's like this, it was change of the mode.
We just, took the power, like we did it, so like no words. When we arrived here, everyone was like, okay, soon the games are closer and closer.
本场比赛由 Dopamine 对战 Hit and Run， 请双方做最后的赛前准备。
那么这一波开团，我感觉 Hit and Run 可能真的准备不足，主战场多人的情况下，还被对手打了一个大的战损比。
They were already warmed, so we had to. We needed time, extra time to adjust, yeah, to see how to play on stage.
恭喜到 Dopamine 0比3。
作为美服的冠军，展示出了他们的冠军实力。
So actually the player who always motivates us the most is Monster. He's always saying like the good words that we have to step up our game and just be focused, that we are better than them.
That's the right moment that we had to do the comeback.
要过来了，皮亚特，火箭冲锋，甩尾，射击，一气呵成。对方现在点位的优势巨大，
人头以及血量优势是非常大的。恭喜 Hit and Run 顶住压力
，5比4拿下了第一场比赛的胜利。
我们接下来的所有比赛全部都是淘汰赛，只有1次机会。
他们的内战主要是看什么呢？就是针对与反针对，他们对彼此都非常的了解。
On the stage, we are the competitors, especially that we used to play in past together, like in the same teams.
恭喜 Storm 1-0拿下首局比赛 ，Rexer 这边没有办法了。恭喜 Storm 再下一城4-2。
że sam ten finał to raczej był taki spacerek i nawet ciężko mi się było cieszyć po tym finale, raczej nie czułem żadnych emocji, no i po prostu było tak.
这是一个 NC 青币 Piotr 25滴血，哎呦 ，Monster 63竟然是战神一样，战神下凡，但是 Piotr 又水炮被战客们带走，恭喜 Storm 拿下赛点。
No more time left to make it.
干上被对手克制，不得不出战。恭喜 Hydra 扳回一个赛点，压迫性非常的强啊！这个同时在3线和7线同时前压，同时场防他也不放过对手。Hydra 顶住压力5-5。身上，哎呦 ，Jordan 又被收走了 ，Zaki。Hydra 连扳3个赛点进入决赛。
Ale do samego końca wierzyłem, że uda nam się pokonać Stormy, bo to było dla mnie bardzo ciężkie widzieć ich w takiej sytuacji, ale ktoś musiał ten mecz wygrać.
通过层层的角逐，最终是来自欧洲赛区的 Hit and Run 战队与来自中国赛区的万万战队披荆斩棘，最终会师总决赛。
Karma, he played really well. I think he took a lot of MVPs in this tournament. The whole team, I think, yeah, they play really well as a team, play aggressive.
让我们看一看冰川之地将有怎样精彩的战斗吧。开着自己的技能，刀也有点难了，是稳稳的陷入被动。他有减伤，他有减伤。成功的收掉，7-0拿下海岸争霸。看到双方出现的血量上的差距，也要被带走了。恭喜到 Hero One 再次拿下1分。但是队友已经给到了江山的武力币，漂亮。
I feel that the most important round for us was the El Haluf, the longest game when there was a draw.
又一次来到了万万人头上的领先。
Okay, so when we were left 2 versus 3, we knew that we have to kill 1 tank.
So I just make a call to run, hide, and don't get any damage.
时间已经到了，已经来到了平局。现在就需要计算一下双方这个造成伤害的一个差距。
他的伤害就多一点点，900多。
Very proud of them. Like it was hard work, you know, but we all done it, so I'm really proud of them.
现在来到了一个 Hit and Run 5打1。Hit and Run 即将拿下自己的又一个总冠军。这是恭喜到 Hit and Run， 海盗尽头天作暗，山登绝顶我为峰。双饭王 Hit and Run 仍然在山巅静候挑战者。
So I enjoyed the game. I enjoyed coming to China and winning tournaments here, obviously. I'm happy that I'm back-to-back champion. You know, I wanted to came back here and win again, and I think that's it.
We're gonna keep working, hard work, you know, play trainings, and I hope we're still gonna be a competitor to get the championship in the future. If you overcome all challenges, keep in mind that you have to, in the end, face me.
your winners. Your Onslaught Legends Series champions will be Cashback.
Mafia are your Fragstore Winter Invitational champions. They take it
24, and the old champion, it is the new champion. Hit and run, the trophy goes. They've done it. Are you united this
Hello, gamer, and welcome to the Onslaught Legends Series Season 2. I'm joined here by Moff. Moff, give me the quick rundown from the last 2 playdays.
My predictions are in shambles. The games were absolutely banger, and I appreciate that. We all appreciate that. Made it very unpredictable. Darkside and LTP showed that they've still got a bit of fight in them, and they definitely both still have a chance of making it into the playoffs, however unlikely. We've got a couple more playdays to go here before we round up the regular season. Cashback, the only team so far that are guaranteed to be in those playoffs. They have 25 points. They cannot be caught by LTP, who are currently in 5th place. So we will be seeing Cashback in the playoffs. No surprises there.
Nah, no surprise. They've been a tremendous team throughout the season, so them locking in as first is very, very well deserved. Only losing a singular match, which, if I'm not mistaken, was against Hit and Run. So, I mean, they've been doing really well. Round difference of plus 16 as well. And yeah, for W, it's today to try and stay ahead of that Darkside LTP combination. Drops, of course, we are in the weekend. So 6 tokens up for grabs today for you at home to use in the Onslaught Legends Series token store, where you can get consumables, premium days, 2D styles, 3D styles, premium days, and of course, if you want to, the Churchill 3 as the main reward. If you want to set a base XP record, that's probably the go-to tank.
If that's your desire, yeah, it's certainly not something that I'm too interested in. However, what a lot of people will be interested in, certainly the players, is the prize pool for this season's OLS, which not only has broken the record for last season's, but we've gone over 70k euros, which is absolutely huge. And I have a theory that the entire reason that the prize pool has gone this high is because the camo is red.
Your belief is that red camo equals
red is better. Red is better.
Interesting. Well, we'll see where...
You know, there's like a theory that teams that wear red have a higher success rate across all different sports because red is a more empowering, intimidating color.
Well, I'm colorblind, so I've never had any of these issues, Moff. OLF, then. We had some matches for this yesterday, I believe, Moff. That they were...
I did not watch any of them, although Keyhand was very dissatisfied that he had to stay up very, very late to watch several tiebreakers.
That's not what I heard. Keyhand said that he was extremely excited to watch some top-level World of Tanks from the North American server up until a good hour in enjoying that one. But yeah, their winner there is going to be taking home 8k, second 4k, and 2k, 1k. So a lot of money up for grabs as well. We will see the conclusion of that in the upcoming week as well. And today, Moff, we're also seeing the conclusion of OCS between Lotus and Yogurt.
Yeah, Lotus, for people that are not familiar, there's a whole drama of backstory to this. Lotus is formerly the team of Storm, but because they reshuffled too many players during the off-season, they had to do a requalification event to get back into the league. They then subsequently lost that to Bobbers, which seems kind of surprising now given how poor Bobbers performed during the OLS, but that is how it went down, and Lotus have been basically wreaking havoc on all of the teams in the qualification bracket.
They have been doing very, very well, and we would not be surprised to see them come back after a quick season in OCS, going back to the top We already know that Season 3 is coming. Mofki had confirmed it, so that is going to be interesting to see as well. LTP are still fighting for survival, though, Mof. That playoffs, it's not just the playoffs that you got out of it, it's also security into the next season.
Yeah, and that is a very big deal as well, because you want to have that guaranteed spot going into next season. And, you know, both of these teams, like we've seen from Darkside, in the last play day, they're going to go down kicking and screaming, but this really is the match that both teams have to win. If you want to make it into those top 4, you have to win this match.
Completely agree with you, Moff, and it's a close one as well. The winner of this is going to move themselves very close to W. The loser is going to start lagging behind a little bit, and believe it or not, if you showed this graph at the beginning of the season, LTP 74 against Darkside 26, and nobody would believe you.
No, but I think even before the season started, there were some good signs that LTP were going to be a bit more promising coming into the new season as a new team. And Darkside they are so incredibly hard to predict. I became Darkside's #1 hater in the last few playdays just because I predicted 4-0, and I was so close to having that happen on one occasion. The other occasion, they won against their ultimate bogey team, or they are the bogey team, sorry, 4 hit and run, and they had another shock victory there. So they are by far the hardest team to predict the form of at the moment.
Yeah, Darkside is the kind of team where, you know, the moment that they start being consistent, they're going to be very, very dangerous. But right now, they're still lacking too much of that. But Suzyanki as first map between these two is going to be an interesting one between the styles that we can get on it. Moving on to Ensk, another city map, but a whole different ball game than Suzyanki Mof altogether. Gameplay much, much faster. And then for the third map, if it gets that far, Morovanka. So not the fastest maps whatsoever. They've really gone for this middle ground segment with Suzyanki and Morovanka. And if we do need it, Airfield Tiebreaker.
Yeah, Airfield's going to slow that pace right down. Although, teams have been playing Airfield at a slightly quickened pace in recent times. They're going through the process of what they want to do very early on. Studzianki has not proven to be a good map for LTP, though, so it's actually kind of surprising to me that they would pick it, but it is what it is. Predictions, we know you don't care. You're going to throw caution to the wind. Darkside Believer 4-2. It's definitely possible. I went for a 4-3 tiebreaker LTP, and Phil and Key being very, very confident in the Frenchies.
Yeah, I went with Darkside, Moff. Unlike you, if I'm last in the predictions at the end of the season, so be it. So be it. But I will start throwing in some, you know,
curveballs.
Curveballs, exactly.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know what they say. When you lose, you say, "Oh, I don't care."
But I
when
said
you
it
win,
before.
You cared all along.
No.
You protected yourself against I don't know what, but public opinion. But my predictions, I've had to start going bolder in recent times, because every time I go to the prediction page, Phil, the devil, has the same prediction in mind that I want to, but because I'm far behind in the points, I have to, you know, claw my way back, so I can't just predict the same thing. And in my efforts to try and get back to, I know, in my efforts to get back to him, I'm falling further behind, but it is what it is. Anyway, enough of that. LTP bringing triple E100, double for the U, 1 Fosh B, and an RHM.
Darkside bringing a T100, a Fosh B, an E50, a Ballad T57, and a double mouse. Playing in the beginning, we can see that it hits 5, I guess, on the side of Darkside. So Nepal here taking the... Ooh, he does get reset. Minus 800 as well. That's also a full level plane for Trash Panda, of course, who will be very happy with that initial damage.
Yeah, Nepal just going for the blind gamble on the radar, just hoping that they're not going to be in position to counter it. And Trash Panda does place the plane and is rewarded in kind with some free damage onto that light tank early on. LTP are not pumping the brakes, though. They're going to keep on pushing, and they look like they might have caught out this T57 of Kano, and he's getting shot from behind as well, taking damage from the super heavies in mid. Darkside, they need to scramble. They're not in good positions to cover him.
And they're not in good positions whatsoever, having this large force located in the south part of the map, the Foch B, and the Bat and the E50 there as well. Kano surely already out in this one, but he does get the reload once more. He does a little bit of damage with it, finds 2 out of 3 on the last clip, so he did not sell his life for nothing. But what Darkseid is really missing here, Moff, is what a lot of teams play in this regard, is like the Gorilla, the big alpha. Like, who's gonna do the damage for them right now?
Yeah, you're lacking the consistent firepower from the back lines. Vladislav is there in the Foch B, but of course the Foch B, it doesn't have a turret and obviously has a clip as well, so it's not going to be providing as much support as you would have liked. Dry is now getting spotted in the bat chat, probably a plane coming out from the PAL as it comes off of cooldown. Replane is probably going to come in as well on towards Dry, so he does get respotted now, very much stuck behind that building, but at least for him, if he doesn't take any damage while he's spotted, then Nepal won't get an additional replane.
And it doesn't seem like Dryze is going to take any damage, so the current situation is LTP up 1 gun and up 2k HP as well. Can they find some resets? No, Hellmind immediately trading it off against Noxious, but he wins that trade actually in the mouse with the lower alpha gun. Impressive. 17 seconds left. There needs to be a reset coming out from the side of Darkseid as Hellmine crosses over, takes another shot of damage. Synapse not able to get one. Hellmine will be able to block, but Zitten, ready and waiting, will immediately peek out against this mouse, and Hellmine realizes, but the situation he's in, we're going to be really careful with Zitten, because the healing mode only just kicks in. He will make it back around the corner before Hellmine finds another shot. Algier now making a peek as well. They do have the strike. Picked up by the T100, Shockworks trying to shield Hellmine, but surely he has nothing left in this one as Zitten picks it up. Synapse now coming from behind. Current situation, 2 guns and 3 KHP for LTP.
Yeah, LTP definitely have the advantage right now, but they need to not overstep the mark. Shockworks is being forced in to block the cap circle, and now Noxious and Algier peek out. They start to poke and prod. Trash Panda does place that strike, and it does do fair bit of damage, but it's not really enough at this point in the game. And critically as well, another problem they have is that the T100 is actually stuck in the middle of the map. He can't leave because he had to go there to collect that strike, and now 15 seconds left on the cap. What are you going to do? Block the cap with a T100? I don't think so.
Well, Trash Panda will have to go for it. He doesn't see another way in, and it's looking like LTP on the first game of the day find that B-line push with very, very good success. Those further to use, finding that T57 of Kano, then cap pressure on round 1 for LTP. They come in strong. Currently looking at a 7-0 scoreline if they manage to find all of the Darkseid members before the cap is out. So very, very good for LTP.
Yeah, a solid start for them, and obviously not for Darkseid. LTP finding a good timing there to pick up a tank for free and then just keep it rolling from there. The positions from Darkseid were never really able to recover from that opening loss, and LTP win the first round.
Very, very good round from LTP. That B-line push, great success, great results as well. Pick up it's the first one, and you gotta wonder, Moff. Darkseid, they're leaving a gap in their defenses, which is probably also why you usually see like an E3 in the position where Kano is. It holds a little bit better. It doesn't really tend to fall against for to use like this.
Yeah, and I think if you play an E3 there, the exposure time is lessened as well, because you only have to do 1 shot and then go back, as opposed to peeking and dumping a whole clip, for example. But like you said, missing that firepower tank in the back lines to really suppress or punish LTP for making those peaks. Noxious and Algier, top of the leaderboard, just chipping away with those German super heavies. No one on Darkseid really able to get too much done in this game.
E100 versus Mouse Moff. I don't know if it's really a question right now, but there must be a reason why they opted for the Mouse over the E100 from the side of Darkseid, right?
Yeah, sure. And it's funny, I was going to ask you the same thing, because I'm curious as to what specific scenarios.
More HP.
I know, more HP, but my understanding would be we want to take a mouse because we want to be more defensive, and when you want to take an E100, you want to be more aggressive, right? Because E100's got a bit more mobility, is able to move around the map slightly easier.
I mean, like I said, the only thing I see is the HP is more. Like, it has more HP. So maybe it's
you don't think anything to do with armor? Because the difference really isn't that much now, especially with the E100 turret buff.
I don't know. I really feel like the Darkside lineup is missing a Gorilla to play like this. I don't know why, but like, you saw it. Like, for LTP, they don't have to be really afraid of peeking at any given point. Because what's going to shoot them? Forge B, 400 alpha. E50M, 390 alpha. T100 and 300 alpha.
Not to mention they're not the best tanks for shooting from range either.
Sure, and they're really missing the scare factor on that lineup, I find. If you want to go into outside control. And unless they were never really hoping for that. This time around, though, Darkside, Mouse, Bat, double Forge B, Kano and the Gorilla, an E3 and a T100.
Well, they are going to be switching it up. LTP, on the other hand, bringing double E100 again. Double 430U, double Foch B, and an RHM. So, again, LTP posturing for some aggression with this lineup.
This time around, though, Darkside has the Gorilla. Like, that scare factor.
Yeah. It's curious that they're pairing that with, like, double Foch B, though. It's kind of interesting
if you think
to
about
see.
It, because there's no more, like, Kano didn't get spotted by the plane. So 2 spotted for LTP and what looks to be like 3 spotted for Darkside. Since you don't have V4s played and stuff anymore, Moff, right? Maybe the Force B is just, you know, the brawler of choice. Because you need something that can fight.
Yeah, and Foch B, in recent times with the meta shift, Foch B, it's kind of ridiculous to say because it's a tank destroyer without a turret, but it's kind of becoming the main battle tank, if you like. The main pushing tank that you go to when you're trying to come up with a strategy. But at the moment, both teams playing for the south side of the map, and LTP with the forces they're sending, definitely a lot stronger at the moment if they choose to keep pushing.
This time around, it looks to be just a split everywhere. But yeah, LTP with that lineup, starting to take over the south. Noxious gets spotted, Zitten as well, so Trash Panda with the T100 finds the info. Tankistador now pushing forward as well. Hellmine actually able to take the point of information. So for them, they're probably very happy about it. Kano taking a shot though. Don't know if he was spotted or not. Probably was.
No, it couldn't have been a blind plane from Nepal because he doesn't have a replane. So must have been a blind shot. Probably. I mean, he could have been spotted by someone, I guess. Strike now being taken by Tankistador. So, a lot of control for LTP at the moment, but Darkside do have the info, whereas LTP don't have everything at their disposal at the moment. And Tankistador would be out of the fight if he stays in that position. I think he might just... he's just going to hold up here and poke into that angle. The Mouse not going to have a good time against the hold down 430U in that situation. And now the radar has been taken by LTP, so full info for both teams here. And now the tables have kind of turned here. Darkside actually have more tanks in the south, so if they get the timing right, they could be in for some success.
Interesting rotations, but at the meanwhile, you can see Dreamer and Shockerix also get pushed on by Tankistador and Noxious coming in quick succession. And you almost would think, Moff, that LTP has found a position here where this time around they're in a better position. Dreamer, Shockerix will pull towards the outside. There's still Noxious there in that 430U. That's going to be very annoying on their side. Zitten left to his own devices in the south. Vladislav pops the ability. Zitten already halfway or over halfway in his. He's onto the healing. He's dead. And now Dreamer and Shockerix need to fall for this. But this time around, Kano in a position to cover. So they need that Gorilla to be hitting home those shots, and they will still need to reset though. That's why you see Shockerix pushing forward down towards the cap, and that is probably LTP's main play right now. This Mouse, yeah, he pushes in, he even shoots Himov, but he will just die in 2.5 seconds after this, so he reset. But what's next?
While Darkside is scrambling, it's going to be Dreamer who's next up to the plate, but there's 2 seconds left on the cap, and they're not going to get there in time. There's no strike for Darkside. There's no points of interest in that south of the map, so you may have closed the net, you may have secured the map control, but you lost the cap, boys.
For LTP, it's a dream start, picking up not 1, but 2 rounds in a row, both of the Sujanki ones. Great for them, and this rotation here, it was very good with the 4-3-Us. I mean, leaving Zidane by himself was a bit questionable, but the rest was good.
I think they probably didn't expect Darkside to commit that far into the south of the map once they cleared out the initial part of it, but I agree, he should be a little bit more defensive, and that would only make the strategy as a whole just more perfect, right? It's just a minor misplay that goes along with the win. Kano not really able to affect the game at all in the Grilla. Didn't get the opportunity to. The circumstance just wasn't there, and unfortunately, Zidane actually did 0 damage. But again, it didn't matter. They were completely out of position. So whether he did damage or not was irrelevant at that point. Although it could have been if Darkside managed to get those resets in.
Darkside really missing the strike in that scenario, I think, no? Like being able to take where the 4-3-U was sitting of, I think it was Noxious. Being able to take that strike and then resetting. Then they can play outside control, but now, I mean, you saw Shockworks drive in. And here the E3 is, of course, not such a good choice because it gets tracked in 1 shot, and then he never gets back to decap anymore.
No, and the E3 is, like, the entire job of the E3 is to bunker down and hold a push, right, and B hold down. But when he's forced to leave his cave and be around in the middle of the open and get crossfired, the armor counts for nothing, and you're basically just a slow moving target in the open. So not a good start for Darkside. A perfect start for LTP on Studzianki. I was kind of worried about them picking that map because it didn't go well for them in the past. Now we're going to go to Ensk, and I don't know how much you watched, Aki, but Darkside, they don't seem to be on board with the meta shift on this map. They very much like playing the Juggernaut TDs still.
I'm not sure about that one, personally.
They were bringing like 6 or 7 of them pretty much every round.
And was it working? That's a better question.
It was like 50% win rate, I would say. Like, they did pretty well against some people sometimes, but they also got rolled a couple times as well.
LTP not bringing too many of those Assault TDs, signups, and the only one, the E3. The Fush B, the Bat, the Mouse, the double E100, and the 50B.
Darkside bringing the double Mouse 430U, double Fush B, the Jagdpanzer E100, and the T110 E4. So they have toned it down quite a bit since the last few playdays, but they're still a believer in that Jagdpanzer.
One more believer, and in the meantime we can see a lot of the tanks from LTP aiming at the cross in the beginning. They will find nothing, while Darkside taking field control. There is a little bit of damage going on towards Thrash Panda, but that's about it. And signups here in this hold down position. It does work, Mov, but you do need some control of the south for this to actually pay dividend.
Yeah, you can't just hang him out to dry in that position. He does need support so that he doesn't get completely crossfired. Now, field control taken by Darkside. They've got radar and the strike, so info provided for the side of them. They haven't completely abandoned the left-hand side of the map, though. They've got this mouse anchoring the J5 position. That's going to allow them to try and get some resets onto this cap. LTP not fully committing to this cap play, though. It's only a double cap for now, so they're going to try and force their opponent into some compromised positions, perhaps allow them to get Synops to do some shooting on the rails here. 22 seconds now left on the cap. Big shot from the Jagdpanzer into the E100. E100 can sustain that, of course. Now Tankistador letting off some shots in that 50B. Darkside are re-pushing into the city of the map, and there's not really anyone here to support Tankistador right now. He may be a free pick in that 50B.
Yeah, and you see Kano there with the Forge B going in head first. Dreamer swinging out towards Nepal, and the Batchat, who realizes that he has to give up Tankistador's position as Dreamer's chasing him down. The cap still on, some damage coming in from the back lines. Make that 1k on Dreamer, who is just funny buttoning away against Nepal. Really good shooting there from Dreamer. Finds one more, and Tankistador is the first one down and out, and now we can see Zitten in his Forge B trying to find his own little flank here. Can he find Dries in that E4 crossing over? Dries will find the shot, but immediately Zitten will pop the ability and heal out a little bit. He's getting pressure back by the Jagdpanzer as well, who seems to have missed his initial shot there in the Forge B. One more onto the side of Dries, and now Helmine with ability will Zitten get him before? No, he won't. And now he takes one from Dries, but he's forced back, and Darkside all this time just trading worse and worse, even finding that first pick, but 5,000 HP down in this position. Sure, they're blocking the cap, but this has been a very, very costly engagement. And now LTP has quite a decent crossfire again.
Yeah, the lines of fire from down the rails, tanks like the E3 of Synops, able to put crossfire shots in towards tanks like Dries, and now they're up about 4k HP, despite being down a gun, so it's not actually too bad for the side of LTP right now. Strikes are being collected as everyone looks to disengage and try and figure out what they want to do next. Darkside still looking to pressure up in the city. Dreamer poking around, trying to find some crossfire angles if he can. Zitten now spotted out. I'm not exactly sure from where. Probably one of the rail carts has been destroyed, but a bit of a stalemate right now. The cap is being blocked, so no one's making progress there.
I mean, the thing is though that for LTP, if I see a very obvious opening that would be great potential for them, and it's simply taken back E5 with the E3. Like, you see where he is now? He goes towards the outside of that building. Ooh, Zitten needs to be careful here. Pops
This is not the play.
He's dead.
He might, yes, he is. He is in fact dead. And LTP just giving away another tank for free there.
All they had to do is, you see where Synops is now? To the right of that, on the outside of that building, he will start killing these. He will still start killing these mouses. And now LTP, from that 3k lead move all the way back down to, I mean, still 2k, but worrying.
2 guns down.
Yeah, worrying times for them. And Nepal taking some damage as well. The Jag, I think, hit another shot now, this time on Algier. Jory taking one from Dreamer. It's starting to smell a little bit like a throw-em-off.
It is indeed. Kano now putting in shot in towards Noxus, but Noxus with the 530 alpha of that E100 is going to trade at least reasonably well. That's the first positive trade they've had in the last minute or so. Dry is just unable to do anything right now. Another shot from the Jagdpanzer. Vladislav's probably done like 4 shots in this game so far, and Kano now putting it another one into Noxus. So the HP swings back in favor of Darksiders. Noxus takes another one and bounces another one as well. Strike being collected, so the cap is underway, 20 seconds, but it's not going to be allowed to go through. And this double mouse from Darkside, Trash Panda takes a shot there. They're just trying to hang on at the moment while the rest of their team makes plays across the map. Strike comes in. That is going to be huge. Trash Panda going down to just 91 health.
Oh, and Algier finds the kill. Noxious actually found the shot through one of those destroyed wagons. There's, of course, a few gaps that come through. Noxious takes one from Dries, though, but the strike is what is going to be able to reset. He's a one-shot, but they need to use the strike to reset the cap, if I'm not mistaken, and they will heal Noxious up as well past that one-shot for the strike. And now Synops pushing in the city, trying to hold off some potential reset angle here from Dreamer. He's on the way back.
3
seconds left now. Where's the reset from Darkside? You cannot get capped once more. Luckily for them, the mouse does reach the cap just in time. Now Synops Amorak as well will make it around the corner, and Helmine and Dreamer don't really want to push this, but now how does this game play out? It's dead even. 1 gun difference. But Kano, they're peeking against. Noxious finds the kill as well. Algier is the one that might get a retaliation, but no, the Jagdpanzer 100 finds Joy, and it is looking like Darkside somehow will claw their way back into this game. And Kano in that first B has been an absolute menace towards the LTP side.
Yeah, those E100s, they do have a lot of HP, but they can't sustain consistent clips from the Foch Bs, the Jagdpanzer fire as well. Helmine now pushing in towards Synops, trying to find that kill, but he cannot manage to flank the E3, but it's okay because Dreamer is there to help him out, and at the end of it all, it's just Nepal left in the Batchat, unable to affect the game in how he would have wanted, and somehow Darkside have clawed their way back. I mean, to be honest, in the beginning it looked pretty good for Darkside, and then LTP brought it all the way back, but they couldn't sustain losing those two guns early on.
Zitten's play in the South was one of big questions, little answers.
I think from his point of view, right, I think he thought that E4 was isolated and there wasn't going to be a Foch B in position. I don't know if the other Foch B was spotted, but I think he expected that he would have an isolated 1v1.
That's weird. I really think the play there was to move Synops back and then on the outside of the building and start popping off against those mouses slowly but surely. But as a result, the Jag, man.
6.5.
6.5k. Dry's also 6k. And Kano 5.5k. And Dreamer 4.5k.
Well, that's what happens when you're farming those super heavies. Vladislav's been popping off in his Jagdpanzer, man. He had, in the last 3 games they played on Ensk, he did 5k, 6k, and now 6.5.
I mean, Jag just in a new meta thing.
Yeah, not only that, but in the previous 2 games, he had 100% hit rate in both rounds. I don't know what his hit rate was there, but still very, very good.
So, very good recovery from Darkside. They played it all really well. I mean, you know, it takes one team to throw it and the other team to bring it back, and they did a very good job at it, especially Kano with the Foch B made a lot of good plays that we saw on screen. But for LTP, I mean, okay, sure, they kind of threw it around the way, but they've been having a very good match so far. They arguably should have won this as well and be at a 3-0 scoreline.
Yeah, you could definitely make a case for that. But at the end of the day, it's the team that makes the least amount of mistakes that wins. And that round will be lost to the past. And if Darkside go on to win the match, then, you know, no one's going to remember that LTP should have been on match point.
Sure. If this becomes 2-2 after this ends, then LTP will be kicking themselves because it was a rough one for them there. I really feel like they let the Yak do way too much damage.
Yeah, I mean, we could also credit Vladislav for just positioning well to make himself less predictable. Because if you know exactly where the Jagdpanzer is the whole time, then I would say it's reasonably easy to avoid getting shot by him. But he was moving around quite a bit and poking different angles, which makes it harder for your opponent to react. And obviously you're German super heavy, so if he suddenly peeks around the corner, you're not very fast, so it's kind of hard for you to just quickly pull back into cover.
Lineups though, interesting one here. LTP, Mouse, bad for 30U, double hooray, 268 V4 and an E3.
All I'm going to say is that is a very cultured lineup. That's what I'm going to say about that. Darkside, they're going back to the Juggernaut TD meta, which I was referring to before. They're bringing 6 out of 7 Juggernaut TDs. Only Kano in the Foch B bringing any other tank with different abilities. A lot of damage taken by Hellmind in the opening here. The double Ho-Re already having an immediate impact.
Both of them hitting that shell with that 360 AP. Synops taking one as well in return, so it's not all good for LTP either. But in general, they're very happy right now. They found themselves in a position where, again, they have a small lead, but both teams are very, very defensive in the beginning.
Certainly, and LTP definitely, both teams actually posturing for that rails control at the start. No one's taken any of the strikes or the radar, so I think we're in for another quite slow round. And this is somewhat reminiscent of what we used to see in 15v15, where teams would just slowly play for the rails control and one team would just eventually bleed out all of their health. And at the moment, that's Darkside that are taking the majority of it. They're already down 3k HP in the trades, and Dreamer takes another one. Finally some return fire, but then Dreamer takes another one from the Ho-Rees.
I mean, the Batshot is really doing a good job here. It takes one more on Dreamer. The Batshot in the beginning was doing a very good job at outspotting these tanks, and maybe might be outspotting now as well, Moff. I'm not sure who exactly is spotting Dreamer. It could be Nepal. He could have an angle, of course, because of the opening in the rails. I think he's like using what looks like low noise.
This is a certified low noise in exhaust moment right there. He's sitting so very close to them, but obviously Bond low noise exhaust is going to give that Batchat absolutely insane camo. He does get spotted now because I believe he moved and then Dry's peeked in the side. Doesn't take damage though. Trash Panda is being denied from taking radar initially, and now Aching peeking into that angle is going to prevent him from taking it altogether. So LTP opening this time up about 4k HP, total denial of information for the side of Darkside, and they don't really have any positions at the moment. They don't even have the rail control that it looked like they wanted.
Yeah, it would be nice to see Nepal set up though. I mean, I'm pretty sure that's just a low noise exhaust, nothing too fancy, too special. But I think he was the one outspotting a lot of tanks in the beginning, so did a good job at that, found a lot of assists. And the denial of the radio, also very important. Darkside have no clue what's currently happening in this game, and the rotations that are coming out from LTP.
Yeah, I would hesitate to say that this game is kind of over, because you just look at the positions that they have available to them, and they're being forced back further and further into their spawn at the moment. They do technically have field control for free if they want it, but they're not really making moves over there. Shockrick's now taking the strike, but also a strike being collected by LTP, so that's an even trade if they get dropped. And Aching might be about to deny this as well. No, he misses the shot.
Yeah, he does not find the angle, but look at LTP in the meantime of...
There it is.
They're starting to make... there was this... What was the setup of?
It was Turbo, HP, and Bond low noise.
Yeah, as expected. So he was using that to outspot those TDs at the back. Those TDs are kind of blind. And now Shockrick's taking the radio, and he's about to discover a whole lot of problems.
He's not even going to get that.
Yeah, he gets denied. I think it would have been a bigger scare factor if all of a sudden he spotted 5 tanks or 4 tanks coming his way. But yeah, Algier already pulling around the corner. Shockrick's now realizing what's happening, but not before Algier takes a big amount of damage there. 999 to the face. The Zitten coming in as well. The strike will hit Algier, so it will not be for free, but they will find so much damage against this 268 V4. Aching there, crossing over, takes a lot as well though. But again, unlike game number 1, LTP's up even more than before, Moff. It's gonna be very hard for Darkside to come back in this.
Definitely, and LTP are making some missteps along the way, Aching bleeding a lot of damage, Algier as well, but the whole time that they're bleeding this HP, they're also picking up kills. Shockrick's does eventually fall in that 268 V4. The A0 tank, I believe that's Kano in the Foch B, is kind of locked out of the round, can't really affect the game right now, and Darkside are finally trying to make some moves, but it's a little bit too late because LTP are already here. The whole squad is flanking now from behind. Nepal's got a full clip loaded and ready to go. Dries just gets immediately blown up in his E3, and this was a very, very slow and painful death in round number 4.
Yeah, if you're a Darkside fan, this match has not been a very happy one to see. They're still in it. They're not out of it just yet, but if this story, if this trend continues, LTP are sure to pick up a clean point difference in this one. And you know, the phase 2 points, Moff, they're just better than phase 1.
They certainly are, and LTP now will be focusing on winning the round, winning the match without going to tiebreaker, so they'll get the full 4 points,
exactly,
which would be
huge,
very important for them.
I think it would put them for the moment above W, if I'm not mistaken.
I think W is on 14 points, LTP is on 12, so they would go up to 16.
Yeah, I thought W was either 14 or 15, so they would go above W, which puts the pressure on W to win their match later on. And in phase 2, there are no easy matches, Mov. There are no easy opponents where you're very favored against.
No, and what we can see from this round, Zitten, 100% hit rate Nicely done. That Ho-Ri do be kind of cracked with the premium AP that gun has. 6.5k damage there. Nicely done. On the other hand, Vladislav, he's had some cracking games in the Jagdpanzer E100, but this is not one of them. Just completely shut out of the round, and Darkside just unable to get anything going there.
Yeah, losing Dreamer in the beginning, I mean, such a hard deficit to come back from. And sure, LTP didn't do everything clean. They could have done it probably even better, but when you are so far ahead, it's so hard to bring it back the way of Darkside if you're LTP. I mean, you have to donate a lot. They managed to do it in round 1. Round 2, however, no such a thing. Now, Murovanka Moff is an interesting one. It's North. If I'm LTP, I'm going to the cap. What about you?
That wouldn't be surprising. They've done that a couple of times. They've showed us the way of the 430U in its low-profile nature, being able to sit in that cap circle, relatively safe, and essentially forcing your opponent to overpeak in the open if they want to get a reset on those 430Us, which complicates things a bit in the ways compared to with before, where you sent sort of triple Blisker into the cap, right? So I'm interested to see the next chapter of the Murovanka meta evolution.
I mean, we saw a lot of 430Us, right? Which stays through for LTP. They're bringing 2 of those, a Forge B and RHM, and a CS63 in the form of a Hurricane, a T57 Heavy, and an E100.
Darkside rocking a BZ75, M5Y, 1 Batchat, 1 CS, double Fosh B, and also an RHM. So both teams bringing 1 light tank. I'd say, like, not in terms of tanks, but in terms of composition, I'd say they're relatively similar.
Sure, I just really don't like the BZ personally.
Oh, you'll get no complaints from me. You know, I'm apparently also the Darkside hater, but definitely a BZ hater for the longest time. I think it's just a horrendously bad tank. We understand why the teams use it, because it's got a lot of HP and rocket boosters that go zoom, but it's just so painful, and I pity any player on any team who is forced to play that tank. Radar being taken by Kano, and he does get spotted out, but the damage doesn't come in until after he's already captured it. I don't know if he popped his ability in time there to heal most of that back. It does seem to be the case. So pretty good opening for Darkside. They got Radar for free and relatively little damage sustained.
Yeah, that was a great move for them, actually. Sticking the radio. Synop's taking the strike in the meantime, though. Can they deny him from this, Moff?
430U, low profile tank. Dries is going to have to overpeak in the open if he wants to do that, and he's got to be careful. He might take a lot of damage. Synops does get spotted out and does take a shot from somewhere. I don't know who that was on towards him, but takes about 700 damage there. And Dries was actually quite lucky as well.
Shockwreck's taken a lot in the meantime, though. LTP now starting to fall back. They have taken a lot of strikes, Moff.
But Radar now. From the Powell. He does get spotted, but again, he gets the radar for free as well, so both teams kind of letting it slip here. But Nepal, the aftermath of that, he did get spotted, and he takes a lot of damage, and now LTP, they find themselves losing map control here. Darkside have cleared out the forest part of the map, and they're pretty much boxed into the 1-2 line. If they let all this map control go uncontested, they will find themselves losing the match, and Hellmine is reacting very intelligently as well. He realizes that he is the next pressure point that will probably get pushed and falls back to a slightly more defensive position.
Thinking about it.
No, the cap?
Yeah, exactly. And also, what did they do from the side of LTP in the beginning of? They took 2 strikes away. So there's a lot of reset potential for them on that strike as well. So Darkside can't really do that, and Aking realized that as well.
That E100's going to shield.
He will, and there's an HE reset there from Hellmine to kick it off. There's the small strike, which gives Dries almost enough for a secondary strike. That's honestly the savior right now for the side of Darkside. Is that there is a mini strike available in Trash Panda taking the big strike. Doubt that he will.
Paul doesn't have he doesn't have a plane.
Yeah, but there's no way that Trash Panda is really able to take that strike at this moment in time. There's another reset coming in. Dries does not have the artillery strike available, the mini one. And there's more HE decaps. Trash Panda has taken the strike now. But another decap coming out from LTP. Hellmine now overpeaking, trying to find something. He finds Joy as well. But the damage he took for that, significant. Now the Force Bs are marching on though. Vladislav and Kano trying to put themselves into a position where they could help out against this cap attempt. And now back down to 20 seconds. And so far, LTP still winning this trade, Domov.
They are, and the cap does seem to be continually getting reset, but Hellmind, the damage is starting to add up that he is receiving for these overpeaks. 15 seconds left on the cap now. Trash Panda is spotted in the forest, so he's unable to peek and try and get an HE reset. There's 8 seconds left on the cap. He gets respotted by the plane. Can Nepal hit the shot? Yes, he can. And now Darkside desperately moving through the center of the map as they try to capture the strike. Kano now pushing in a suicide attempt to his Foch B to clip out. He's got his ability popped. Can LTP blow him up before he gets back around the corner? That is the question. I think they might just be able to find the kill, but they're actually going to have to overpeak a lot more than they would have liked to find it, and that's going to allow Hellmine to get back into this game here with the M5Y, providing a bit of crossfire, but it's all over. They've ran out of HP. Hellmind has no teammates left to support him, and this was a good bait and switch by LTP. They gave up a lot of the map control, but they didn't allow Darkside any meaningful or safe way to reset the cap.
You know, stealing those double strikes in the middle, the only way that Darkside gets more out of that is they need to do more damage when those LTP tanks were pulling back Moff, and LTP deservedly picking this up 4-1. Very good match from them, deserved across the board. They steal the double strike and then, well, you know, double strike to reset other strikes. And yeah, the Miffy can reset, but he took a very big amount of damage for doing that as well.
Yeah, and that's what I was alluding to before the game started, with the 430Us being so low profile, and they've actually adapted their strategy to incorporate an E100 as a shield as well, which is forcing the M5Y to overpeak even more than he would have liked. I think the fact that LTP took strikes in the beginning in itself was not like majorly an issue because the strike cooldowns were done. The problem is that because they have those strikes, they're able to use them to then reset the strikes so that Darkside couldn't do anything about it. And there was a moment where Trash Panda had the possibility to try and capture one of them because Nepal didn't have a plane, but as I forgot in that moment, LTP still had all of their strikes available, so he was never actually going to be able to take that.
That's the biggest issue there for Darkside. They would never be able to take the strike again. And they do have the mini strike from Dries that reset once, but he was never able to find another shot of damage.
Yeah, and it's not enough if he can't find a sustained damage source to farm in that CS, then he's never going to be able to get his ability back up to level 1 charge. And he does come top damage for the team, but it doesn't really matter who's top or bottom here. It's kind of just who was in the best position in the late game to farm.
Pretty dominating performance from LTP across the board, though.
Yeah, I would say so. And this was kind of like the test where if you can beat Darkside convincingly, then you can really mix it with the rest of the teams, right? And they've already shown that they can mix it with the rest, but Darkside being such a strange team in the form, you just never really know what you're going to get.
And for W, there's a very important match coming up, Muff. Very important. They're looking again to be in the same struggle as last season right now. For 4 now. It could still change, but LTP picking up 4 clean points here is very important. So can W pick up important points as well? We will have to figure out in the next match. But before that, let's take a quick recap about how the Baguettes managed to get the 4 points in the replays.
Onslaught Legends Series Season 2 is here. And you can make it truly special for participants and yourself. Boost the prize pool by predicting with team bundles. If your team wins, you can upgrade the included style to a shiny golden version. Contribute now. Well, hello there, and welcome back to the second match of the day, and that one is going to be played in between Mafia and DBLYOO. What are your feelings? What are your thoughts about it, Ducky?
Well, this is like a reminder of last season. Last season, this was the deciding match, if you remember, Keyhand.
Mm-hmm.
This season, it's also a very important match, not just for W, also for Mafia. You want to get out of range of LTP, right?
Yes, definitely. Last season, I believe, if memory serves correctly, we did have a tiebreaker win for the team of W that, as we all remember, barely did not manage to make it into the playoffs. And to be honest, after Tuesday this week, everyone would have said, W is in for sure. However, since then, things have happened. Both LTP and Darkside managed to snatch up a victory, and in LTP's case, after the match that we just saw, it was even 2 victories, so now W all of a sudden scrambling for those top 4 spots that are obviously the important ones where you're gonna get to play at playoffs where you're actually in for the money. Predictions are favoring Mafia, though.
Which I think is fair. I mean, Mafia still considered a better team by many. They also still won the Fractal and Winter Invitational, so they have shown that they can beat everybody when it matters most. And this is where we start seeing who can perform under that pressure and can lock in for that top 4.
Yeah, there's one player on the team that I think you haven't seen play yet. That is Astrala. He was a mid-season substitute, but so far, and for now, finally, I'm going to pronounce his name correctly, Orzhek. He's been a key player for the team of Mafia. Almost 3.5k DPG and a KD of 1.6. The pen rate, okay, but like the other stats are outstanding.
Yeah, and when is the last time you had 85% pen ratio?
Oh, we are reaching back some moons ago.
So how do you dare to go like, you know, like...
I'm like a fine connoisseur of OLS plays, and I just want to see the best. Talk about 85% pen rate, by the way, Jakafar as well, but to be honest, from that red line, it's a long distance for those shell to travels. That being said, his KD and his average damage also not too shabby.
Yeah, no, this match will separate the wheat from the chaff, and we'll see where real men are made. Who is going to bring themselves to that top 4? I honestly believe that whoever loses this is going to be having a really hard time, because for some reason LTP is cooking. But map pick and bans, Westfield and Airfield being removed, that gives us Ensk as first one. An interesting one. We saw LTP and Darkside already to 2 styles on that, and if we get a little bit of that, it would be very interesting. Then Cliff, very fast-paced map where we really will see a lot of quick action. And if that isn't enough, if we do get there, Ghost Town will be map number 3. So from very quick to a little bit more methodical. And if we have to really decide who gets the points, Pilsen will be the one to bring a decision. What do you think?
Well, first of all, we saw Ensk earlier today, and I think it's fair to say that we saw pretty slow rounds in between in between LTP and Darkside. So I think in between both of the teams here, Mafia and W, it should be a bit quicker than that. And obviously, it's only going to pick up the pace from there on Cliff, which is one of the, if not the quickest map in the pool. Ghost Town, however, has, especially since the addition of the can opener, become a sort of slower, more methodical map, just because you have that additional option to reset the cap from the stairs position. And yeah, let's see if we get to Pilsen. I think both Mafia and W have shown in the past that they are not completely unaware of there being the possibility of fast cap strategies like bait and switch once again on Pilsen. The map does kind of lend itself to it, although since the addition of the strike on the coal piles, it has fallen off a little bit in that regard. That being said, predictions coming in, both Moff and I going with a 4-3, and you are saying it's a 4-3 as well. You are going with Mafia, however, and Phil is saying it's going to be easier than that for Mafia. It's a 4-2.
Moff absolutely in shambles if me and Phil end up being right. I think I might even overtake him then. Which would be very funny because I spend a grand total of about 45 seconds per prediction and he spends about 4.5 hours, you know?
Yeah, he's really going into the deep end with the numbers, but does it really help him? Well, so far it hasn't, but let's see if the mathematical probabilities do end up helping him. The longer the OLS goes. All right, in towards map number 1 here on Ensk. And as I said, we saw Ensk earlier today. This time around, I expect it to be a little bit quicker. Let's see what the lineups have to tell us. Well, Mafia, they do once again bring this triple super heavy, double mouse and E100, this time together with a T57 121B and double Foch B. If I had to guess, I would say that's a north spawn with triple heavy through the middle and then the other tanks through the city.
W in return bringing their own triple super heavy. The only difference there, W100 instead of double mouse. 121B brought as well. For to the U, a Foch B and an E4.
Okay, so both sides with the Inspire medium. Orjek, obviously, that brutal burst in that T57, as indeed Mafia do spawn on the north. However, they are sending the 121B kind of through the middle. We saw Katsai, I believe, from Team Hit that was taking this exact pathing where you do not destroy the walls in the HJ45 positions. Now he does, however, Katsai that time around when he was playing, he was basically booking it for those strikes in the western part, just saving a couple seconds. Not going to happen this time, however. But yeah, let's see. Both Profuse and Uzek, or Uzek, I guess, taking shots to the face, and Profuse even a lot of damage to his face, down towards 2.1k. Those were a lot of tanks shooting at him, and all of them did damage.
Klurf there in a bit of no man's land, and K1 activated his ability as well, so he will get pushed by double Foch B, and there needs to be an immediate reaction from W. You do not think that they're in trouble yet, but time is ticking. Klurf there behind those buildings will get pushed upon in the near future, so they need to be ready to make a move. They've already pushed on towards the cap themselves, and I think W right now in a pretty good position. Barkis immediately crossing over though with his Foch B friend, starts to take the damage, pop this ability, so he'll be healing back. Klurf not getting pressured from two sides. Barkis does not have the healing ability. He's in the heal already, so any damage Klurf does right now is permanent. Marcel not hitting either. Barkis down towards a one shot, and Klurf will put one of the Mafia tanks in the grave before he will not go down either, because he will heal more than enough. And EOS finds Profuse, who was already low HP from the beginning of the game, and Strala behind this mouse is going to have a quite easy time. And W in round number 1 look to be aware of anything and everything that Mafia could do. Set it off strong, find a kill, find 2 more on top of that, and Mafia left wondering, how did it go so very wrong?
Yeah, absolutely. W doing a number on Mafia here in this match number 1, as Klurf once again is in the healing part of his ability, but obviously the 1-to-1B of Conrad didn't have enough burst during the first phase to really gun him down. That being said, talking about the burst, Klurf there absolutely acting like a unit by himself. Is able to stay alive for now. Does he manage to dodge Orjek in that T57 heavy as Jakufar comes from the back to shut it down, and just like that, W secure the first point. It's 1-0. A
little bit of miscommunication there, I think, from Mafia as well. The Foch Bs, I mean, Barkis used this ability in the beginning to cross over. Normally it's Marcel that has to take the secondary, but Klurf actually 2v1 those kids and sent them back to school, I guess.
Yeah, a little bit of a clapping going on there from Klurf. Absolutely perfectly played by him. You could also see he was pressing reload with enough time left to spare for the Mafia tank, still having to cover some ground before they could actually engage him. So, yeah, good job by Klurf, and let's see if that reflects in the post-battle result stats as well, because we are going to obviously bring them up right now. And, I mean, yeah, Klurf having a good game. What can you say? 15, 15, 15? Good job.
All around, pretty good performance there from W. Very good punishment in the beginning on towards Mafia, especially Profuse, and even after, they were very ready for the rotation. Like, even if Klurf was dying, which it was very possible that they executed better in the kill Klurf, they would have lost already way too much in return. They would have had complete cap control, traded for Klurf as well. So really good start, a good opening from W. Locking down that full city play from Mafia. And they need more of this. They need every point they can get.
Yeah, which is kind of cool because after Tuesday of this week, we essentially thought like, well, we know the top 4 already, and like those will just fight in between themselves as to who gets which seed for the playoff phase. But now things are kind of up for grabs again. And this means that this match, together with the other ones as well today, will have all the teams scrambling to just get ahead of the others. Phase 1 score is coming in. Mafia with the 3-1 victory there. So no tiebreaker points to be shared at that point in time. Maybe today it's different. And maybe today the result will also be different, because in this round number 1, W have absolutely looked stellar. But obviously they need to keep going here on Mafia's map pick. And the best of 7 being a bigger best of obviously leaves more room for mistakes as well. Leaves more room to make up for those mistakes as well if you're talking about Mafia.
Sure. And mistakes. Ooh. Okay. I will.
Oi.
Okay. Let's just ignore Mafia's lineup, Keehan. Just go straight to W's lineup. 5 Foshbis.
That is indeed 5. Quintuple, a full handful of Fosh Bs together with a double mouse for a bit of tankiness. And yeah, I mean, Mafia's lineup a bit more conservative, common, versatile, but they are obviously missing the absolutely brutal burst that W bring to the table here. And also, yesterday when I was spectating the OLF matches, I saw at a couple of points in time a Fosh going in towards the healing part of his ability, plus some super heavy on the level 3 heal beside him, and the HP regeneration at that point in time on the Fosh B goes absolutely brut.
Now you see where they're sitting. Look at them, the triple hit squad of them waiting behind this building, unspotted. No. Yeah, this could be just what the doctor ordered. Do they react to this? No, they do not react to this. I think they're waiting for the point of information to be contested or somebody to push forward. And now W trying to sell this fake Splatty crossing over. Strala taking damage as well. So they're really trying to sell this fake. They're still pushing down with double Fosh B. But the biggest question is, does this triple Fosh B in the north actually get anything? The spotting point's about to be taken. That will be the trigger.
That will indeed be the trigger as the 430U does go on top of it. The Fosh B of W in the city, meanwhile, taking the spotting point as well. Do those triple Fosh Bs now spring into action?
No, they use the strike.
No. They did use the strike to reset, and that obviously frees up a lot of houses on that spotting point, as well as now Klurf and Itox do get spotted. Brainbreaker also finally has been seen, and Conrad probably wishes that he was in a different place right now, because that is a lot of firepower rolling his way.
Yeah, Itox and Klurf, they gotta be careful now, because the rest of Mafia is coming to location. They pop the abilities, they're trying to disperse, they don't have many shots left, but Frugo and Ios in the meantime find Profuse a double team on that part of the map as well. That mouse will fall, but Itox also dead in his own Fosh B. The rest of them seem to have made it out of position, though maybe W was a little over-eager with those tanks on the field, because look at Klurf down towards 481. YOLO will probably find him in that E4 coming around the corner. Klurf down and out as well, and now Splatty a little bit isolated, and Frugo and Ios seem to have not been able to kill Profuse either, Kian.
Yeah, they're probably reloading at this point in time. You gotta wonder, when are those Fosh Bs coming off of reload? And I think that's about to be the case, but that is still a lot of HP for the team of Mafia to chew through. Splatty now trying to stay alive here. He's going to take 1, make that 2. He's gonna get shut down, the Fosh Bs off a reload, but YOLO obviously does have the damage reduction ability. How many shots does Brainbreaker have remaining? The answer is 0. Yes, he is healing back some damage, but now with Frugo and Ios with a last hurrah coming in, there is simply too many blue tanks in their way.
Yeah, that field play on towards the 430U. Initial success was found, but they went a little too eager with Klurf and with the secondary Force B of Itox. They didn't need to go that far to kill the 430U, and they got caught because of it. And that's really the difference maker here. They lost 2 of those Force Bs, and I don't even think they did more than like 2-3 shots each. If they realized that, you know, the 430U is dead, we don't need to overextend and play a bit more passive, I think every single one of them there makes it out of the situation, disperses behind buildings, and when they come back in with triple reloads, well, Mafia would be dead. But Keyhand, if both Force Bs have 6 shells, Profuse should be dead.
Yes. That's, I think, 4,800 clip potential. Even if the mouse gets a heal off while being clipped, that shouldn't be enough to keep him alive. But for this round especially, I really want to commend the players on the Mafia lineup, because you could see they were kind of suspicious that something fishy was going on, that something was foul with how W were playing it. Maybe the mouses of Splotty and Strala didn't sell the fake well enough, but the fact that realistically only Conrad got caught by this quintuple Force B that obviously normally has the firepower to take out like 3, maybe even 4 tanks if all of them manage to get off a good engage. That is really well played individual, like by positioning, be it positioning, be it calls, being just general cautiousness. Mafia just ending up not getting caught with their pants down.
No, but yes and no. It's like, yeah, they expected something, but they would still have lost the 430U relatively for free. So if they play it like they're supposed to, from the side of W, it's still over. Like, I understand, I agree with you on a point, but I also think that if they execute properly, no.
Well, both teams will have a chance to execute better, because realistically a 1-1 map split means that you lost a battle on the first map, and here with the second one, 2 rounds still up for grabs. So let's see who is going to do it on Cliff. The first map was obviously a Mafia pick, so now in theory we are headed towards W's territory.
What do we expect from Cliff, Keyhand?
Fast-paced action, possibly some misplays, because if you have to make rash decisions, there might be misplays in there. So let's see. Mafia this time, though, starting out with a cooking pot, as we do see double 50M together with Batchat BZ75, double 50B, and an RHM. Actually, triple 50B now. Being switched a little bit, double E50M. Normally those E50Ms are very good against Batchats, but W, they have none of those.
No, they have a double CS, a T100, a double BC, and a double 50B. If you had to pick a lineup, Gihan, which one would it be?
I think W's, because Mafia is trying to counter something, in my opinion, which W isn't doing.
Actually, I would have opted for the other one, so it's interesting. We do not agree there. I just think the E50Ms might be chewing through this lineup rather effectively. We see the split here, though. Double 50B with a CS63 and 1-2. EOS will...
Oh, no. Poor EOS. The 50B is about to be off reload, and the ability kicking in. He's going to take a truck ton of damage. Is he even going to make it to position? No. Just gets completely blown up through... Well, is it really a fault of his own? Probably FC call to go there. So W are going to start a man down.
Yeah, I think those 50Bs having grousers and everything possible to boost them in terms of speed, but for W, Keyhand, this is such an easy game right now. You gather up on the northern corner like E3, you push back across, and you simply just kill them. It should, by all simple explanation, be over in this. Like, the issue is not losing EOS, the issue is Jakefa and Splady both being on the lower side.
Yeah, W here obviously being split, and the thing is on Cliff, because it's a relatively small map, any kind of rotation that the 50Bs from W might do at this point in time would most likely get spotted. So they are indeed kind of stuck, which reduces the effective amount of 6 tanks that W have available for fighting to a measly 4, as we do see Itox probably already in kind of a desperate attempt getting split off in that CS63. He does get a shot in towards YOLO, but obviously with the Onslaught modifiers, just one shot or two, even on an RHM, don't necessarily mean too much.
Clur finds another shot, and Conrad starting to make his move on Itox. YOLO gets spotted out by Itox, but not Conrad in that batch of 25T. They'll need a lot of help from that T100 of Clur to make something happen here. And Conrad simply driving in, ramming a little bit. They're going to try and focus out YOLO, which I think is the right decision in this regard. Going to try and focus out that IHM Panzerwagen. There will be a strike at some point coming in as well. So Itox did hit the strike. Conrad's on reload now. He's starting to take damage from the T100. And this is not what you would like to see from Mafia, because now the 50Bs are pushing the lower side again, and Profuse will find a shot against Frugo. Brainbreaker tried to block him, will not work out, and they feel like they had to do something here with the 50B. Splatty and Drakefa coming back in, but already Frugo out. They will find Marcel, but Itox now dying against Conrad and Drakefa, and Splatty see a sea of blue in front of them. They need to get back out of this situation, but there's not much that Drakefa can do against an E50M chasing him down, but a DPM ability activated.
Yeah, exactly. The E50M might even switch over to HE at this point in time. That 50B butt is kind of juicy for those E50M HEs, and now it is just the matter of the fact that Mafia do have more guns in the game, and also guns with higher DPM. That T100, realistically, it has been shooting for quite a while, but the DPM kind of limited on this tank, as Brainbreaker does end up mounting Profuse, but he doesn't get the kill, probably giving yet another possibility as Brainbreaker misses the shot to give him another one as Barkis rams into Brainbreaker. And realistically, yeah, the lineups might have tried to counter something that wasn't happening by Mafia, but what ended up happening instead was Mafia's opening completely countering W's.
The funny part here is if the 50Bs and Frugo don't push across, the trade wasn't even that bad. It felt like a reaction because they were certain Itox was going to die. But he and Clur killed 2v2, you know, like they actually would have traded positively there. Because YOLO was dead, and Conrad still died in that position, which means that the reaction from W was the one that actually sealed the deal for Mafia. Without that, there would be a T100 on the hill, and it would not be easy for Mafia.
Nope. But like this, it kind of did look easy for the team in blue, and this is why Mafia do swing it around in this match from a 0-1 deficit. All of a sudden, Mafia is in front, 2-1. And yeah, if W make mistakes like this, I think Mafia are a team that are absolutely more than capable of picking up the shambles of misdecisions by the enemy and just converting it into points.
Yeah, and initially, I mean, the CS63, it doesn't get caught by many things, but a 50B with Grousers and Fuel is probably fast enough. Depends on if they actually sent the one with the best spawn from both sides. Because if they did that, then I think the 50Bs are fast enough. Well, they definitely were in this case. So really good stuff there from those 50Bs from Mafia.
Yeah, absolutely. They were given an opportunity and they absolutely grasped it. Let's look at the shooting. I mean, not the best. Then again, if you're continuously and permanently shooting on the move, then even the 50B ability is probably only going to do so much to your gun handling if indeed you're running full mobility lineup and you're skipping the vert step altogether.
Interesting that Profuse are actually top damage in the BZ. I mean, the BZ... no DPM, but he played a good job in the middle, made sure the vital shots were put on the tanks that mattered most.
Yeah, and you could see Clur, I mean, he had 3k damage, a little bit more than that in that T100, and that means that he was able to put in like 10, 11 shots, but, you know, the T100 actually, if you're going, let's say, for mobility and spotting lineup, you're not going to take a rammer. That means your reload is longer than 7 seconds for, well, 300 alpha, so... you're really trying your best, you're hitting all your shots, but at the end of the day, the firepower of that Soviet Titan light tank just limiting you in a way where realistically you can't decide the game simply by shooting yourself.
Do you think Mafia's going to run away with it now, or?
I think so far we saw 3 games in which essentially the tactic and the calls and the openings were decisive. So if W happened to catch an opening where they completely catch Mafia off guard, then that has more to do with how the match is going to play out than, suddenly the psyche of W being broken or anything amongst those lines. But let's see, Mafia coming in, triple BZ75, we have double CS63, 1 TVP and an RHM.
A TVP and an RHM as well for W with a CS and a BAT, a 5A and double BZ, so kind of the same philosophy here, but the 5A key, we do not see that very often on Cliff.
We don't see the 5A very often, and compared to the BZ75, it does obviously lack some initial mobility. However, what it does bring is a better turret and DPM. DPM is obviously something that those BZ75s really are lacking, as we do see a perfect scout coming out from both sides, so all of the information is available. Now it's up to the calls.
Can W hold on? They have the badge at 25T taking 1-2 line now. Jakefa, they're crossing over. I think Klurv drove against the rock from the looks of things. There for a second in that RHM. Barker's taken 2 on the way up. Itok's taking the top ramp, and now the BZ's arriving for Mafia. Question is, where are they going to be going? They're going to be peeking over against Itox, and I think now he realizes the kind of trouble that he's in, as not a single one of them missed the shot. Itox now forced back down out of that position in a CS63, and the RHM from Mafia already behind as well, and I think that is the trigger here for Mafia to go over or check down towards a one-shot. They need some heals, he needs some friends, and YOLO coming in as well, because they realize Brainbreaker is putting in the hurt from the back. They do not heal or check past enough to make sure that he will survive for a while, but Mafia trying to break through the middle of the map. Klurv going back for YOLO, but Itox is the first one to fall, and now it's going to be on Jakefa and EOS in those DPM tanks to make the difference from W, but there's nobody left to do anything, as Fru was the last one left standing in the middle. Mafia have no worries about what their intentions are. They drive straight up and over, find everything W had to offer.
Exactly, Mafia just with more tanks in that middle of the map. Yes, there was a lot of punish available for the tanks of W, but Brainbreaker being out of the fight doesn't help. The CS63 immediately removed as a factor, not helpful either for the team of W, and then Mafia coming in with good focus fire on towards those tanks in orange, and we do see IOS in that aforementioned WZ5A wasn't mobile enough to bring his tank to where it mattered, which was the shootout. Yes, maybe he was able to provide DPM, but overall the Mafia tactic this time absolutely superior. 7-0 clean game for them, and with it they are going to pick up a match point. 3-1, the map pick of Cliff that W went for. Well, it ended up not being theirs.
No. Good stuff from Mafia. Really good execution initially, right? Finding Itox in that CS63. One of those tanks that's actually supposed to deal the damage in this. So they found that tank very, very early. And I don't think Jakefa and the TVP had that much to do either in this battle. 3.5k. Yeah, okay. Not bad. But you see some apparent issues there. I mean, you have Itox doing 4 shots in the CS63, Klurv doing 4 in the RHM, and then Brainbreaker, the man on the flank, doing 3 in the batch at 25T. Well, we look at the counterparts, of course, YOLO with already a good damage, Marcel doing basically as much as Jakefa, but then across the board, just higher averages, and the CS63 is doing exactly what they needed to do, farm that damage.
Yeah, exactly. I think Mafia just had a more coherent plan as to how to involve every single gun in towards the fight in a way that it was meaningful and could actually have impact. Whereas for W, I think they were hoping for a slightly longer game. They were trying to gain positional advantage, and then their plan was to slowly grind down Mafia with those gained positions. But obviously, when you try to play that long game and the opponent just goes straight up for the brawl, then you have big problems if they manage to catch a couple or even 3 tanks of yours.
Brings us to Ghost Town Key. Mafia did run away with the match there. It all started so good for W, picking up the first round and had a lot of potential for the second, and then the third and fourth, well, less so.
Yeah. I think well is just about the perfect word to describe what exactly happened here. Now, Ghost Town being picked, usually it is a kind of slower map There are a lot of points of interest as well, and usually on Ghost Town you want to make sure you secure the outside angles to be able to provide fire support in towards the city, meanwhile not leaving the cap completely open to some attempts by the opposing team to, once again, force those fast and aggressive plays that can really catch some teams off guard. But yeah, as of right now, it seems like Mafia is a little bit inside of W's head. Like, they're one step ahead in the tactical department, because I think the individual shooting on W is fine. It's just the team cohesion that's not really there at the moment.
We have to see what kind of a Ghost Town style we're going to be getting. Is it going to be a quick Ghost Town, which is possible, or a slower Ghost Town? It's hard to tell.
Until we see the lineups, that is. But I think those are still a little bit of time away. That being said, we have seen the can opener seen a lot of use. I'm still waiting personally for a can opener versus can opener face-off. I don't think we've seen that one yet. Let's see if we're going to see this one, or if we see one of those new British tier 10 tanks at all. And indeed, it's not going to be one of those. Instead, for Mafia, they are trying to finish off the match here already with triple E100, a singular IS-7 this time, double Batchat, and an RHM.
W in return, when opting for the double light, EBR, RHM, double bat, D57, 277, 100, so still pretty heavy. I mean, Mafia has that one light still, so they really have just one extra combat tank that they have to utilize properly.
Yeah, let's see. Obviously, the double light tank combination of EBR, RHM does give a little bit more versatility towards the team of W, especially on the 9-0 line. So on the open, and that EBR can obviously roam around just about anywhere, as the plane from Mafia does hit 3 tanks. So the E100, 1 Batchat, and an RHM are going to be spotted, but the counter spot does come through by the EBR of iOS that has activated ability and manages to outspot YOLO. That's probably calling that, well, something is on the 1-2, not really sure what it is, maybe an EBR. And indeed, the Batchat of Uzek together with Conrad and Profuse, all of those get spotted, so iOS finding a lot of map control, needs to be a little bit careful not to take shots, but Brainbreaker, that is a very aggressive position, actually.
You see YOLO now transition towards the east immediately. EOS gets spotted out, and the EBR needs to be careful. Just we're running those ridges, trying to keep some spots up, but yeah, Brainbreaker very aggressive. Uzek taking some damage there. Jakefa retaliating as well. It's not ideal for either team right now, Keyhand.
No, I think it's a little bit better, though, for W at this point in time, just because they have more map control. That being said, the RHM of Mafia was able to take the spotting tower, so that is obviously very nice when it comes to the information department. It does also grant another plane towards YOLO. And Brainbreaker here leaving, I think he recognized that he was about to overstay his welcome, so smart repositioning coming out from the 277 of W. And I think now for iOS, kind of the same thing might start happening, as, well, he's an EBR, he can get a lot of information, but what he can't do is sustain a fight against an IS-7 that's about to be held down.
The biggest issue here for W is that Mafia controls H1, just like in attack defense, for example, Kihan. When you have that position where Itox is, you are not safe. Once they start pressuring you back, you will get crossfired from double angles, and I think he realized that as well. He's pressuring forward a little bit, trying to find some success. And Eos here will face off against Profuse, but Mafia making their own rotations towards the east. YOLO just stealing the strike, then running away. And now the big question is, can they find Itox from multiple angles?
Yeah, actually, iOS got unspotted super quickly there with the EBR, so I am wondering if he might be actually running improved radio equipment on that one. Would be a possibility. But as of right now, W has been bleeding quite considerably, and now they're trying to make up for that by starting to take map control. Krulurf is going to take the northern information tower, and he does indeed have a lot of homies to back him up or rather run in front of him. Jackiffer is going to run it down the 0 line, and it is going to be, I believe, Frugo in that T-57 to position himself on the artillery strike. Might even go through here, as we do see Ios. He has to give up ground, but he's buying a lot of time, and indeed, he does have the radio equipment.
Barkis now leaving the long way. He does get spotted out. He might be actually taking some damage for this. One shot coming out immediately. A second one now, and he still has a long way to go, Gihan, to be safe. He's going to take at least 2 more shots, I would say. There comes one from the RHM, one more from the bat, and I think one more before he gets around the corner. It does appear to be the case. So minus 1.1. He thought he was making a safer retreat, but it was actually a more dangerous one.
Yeah, his backside taking a pounding there, so Barkis probably needs to hang back a little bit to recover from that experience. And W, they have kind of transitioned from trying to play a super aggressive Western style, like Western style on Ghost Town, I mean, to taking over more of the eastern part of the map, where you obviously have a lot of resources with those neutral objectives that are being taken as we speak. So it's going to be double information tower plus strike against a double strike. But obviously, double strike, it does damage, but you need to hit it. First of all, as Conrad might be in a good position here against a Brainbreaker with that bad shot. He does have YOLO in support as well. And Frugo might be finding Barkis here, is going for the hero play, is going to find one, make that 2. And the third shot is going to find the mark. Barkis is going to go down. First blood for a W, but they're bleeding heavily for it. Brainbreaker now is trying to leverage the hold down position in K4.
None of the Frugo play there was 100% worth it. Jakifa's actually dead in the bat shot. Not sure how that came to be. I don't even know where he was, Kihan, when he exploded. So he just falls, and now YOLO running away, but not before picking up Frugo. Brainbreaker, Strala, and Klurf now trying to pick up the pieces from what happened, losing their 2 teammates. Brainbreaker getting blocked a little bit there by Klurf, who wanted to get across, and now Strala wide open receiver, and he's definitely taking a lot of footballs to the face, as Conrad will not make it out though. Strala finds the kill. W now up a gun, and up, most importantly, that light tank advantage.
Yeah, indeed, if you take a look at what Mafia have remaining here, it's not that ideal. They do have a Batchat as the one remaining medium, so Yuzek's about to get focused out by that EBR, by that RHM. He does go down towards a one-shot. Ojek able to kill one more tank in the E100, but the lights are about to go out for Mafia on this outside here. Wow, Profuse, though, actually with another kill here, most crucially on towards the RHM of W, and I was about to say the lights are about to go out for Mafia, but that is because I expected for the 1-2 line to die, but the support from those double E100s actually enough, and Itox now finds himself in 1v2, but he does have the HP advantage, and Ios even trying to support, but that EBR gun, it doesn't have a lot of penetration.
And Profuse spots out Ios now as well. He misses, and Itox is trying to farm away on that corner. They realize from the Mafia side that we have to play where we are, because, well, otherwise we get shot by the 277. They're backing off around the corner now. They will have the cap, and the best thing the EBR could do is disengage, take a strike, for example, or simply get behind these E100s. Anything at this moment in time outside of finding the healthy IS-7. But W has made a real mess of this battle, Keyhand.
They've made a mess, but they can still make it happen. Brainbreaker is now going to go towards the K4 position to get yet another angle, as the W100 from Mafia does push out, but they are not going to find what they wanted, which is a pickup on towards Itox. Instead, one of them does find the embrace of the Grim Reaper. It is Barkis towards the grave.
Yeah, Profuse finds the kill on Brainbreaker, but Marcel now definitely in a lot of trouble. 99% going to get pushed from 2 sides by the EBR and the E100. Profuse is beelining it into position though, and Marcel doesn't know where to angle entirely. They want to find Itox. Does Marcel get across the gap before Itox peeks it? It does look to be the case, but they spot each other out, and they will get a warning soon that the EBR is playing towards the cap. Good strike there from Profuse. He's now driving through the cap. Itox realizes this. He's going to be turning around and facing the music, and Profuse in that tank will struggle a lot as Ios is pushing on towards Marcel. Can he find the kill though? He does! Good execution there by the man in the EBR. He finds the shot that he needs on towards that E100, and now Profuse is going to try and dodge Itox. Itox doesn't find a shot, but Ios does. And in a 1v1 between an IS-7 and an EBR, Kihan, well, I know who I would pick.
Especially if the EBR is above 1,000 hit points, and that IS-7 of Profuse is at 164. That is one strikeable, one shottable, and, well, he cannot heal. He's an IS-7.
Hey, what is the HE alpha of an IS-7?
Something like 600, I believe.
There is a world in which Profuse...
It's 640.
640. 640 plus 400 is 1040. Okay, if Profuse would go to the strike at the same time as Ios does it, and then goes to hide in some position, and is able to HE him at the same time, it's possible. But right now, Profuse is not doing that. He's going to go hide in the corner, and the biggest issue there is if Ios is able to take a radio tower, the game's over.
Yeah, exactly. First of all, Ios is going to take the strike here. And now, speedy mode activated. He is going to go on towards the hunt. And Profuse is, well, I guess his plan is to try and position himself in between the two spotting towers. So whichever one Ios will try and take, he can drive towards that. And maybe angle against the shots. But yeah, the issue is he needs to basically gamble that Ios's strike is going to miss. So let's see, 38 seconds remaining. I think that is also kind of something we need to keep our eyes peeled on, because obviously the strike does take a couple seconds until it actually... until it actually does go down. And now we do see Ios coming in. He tries to get spotted, but... well, the IS-7 does actually triple bush. Good HE shell, 655. In comes the strike, however. Let's see if he does convert it. And indeed, the EBR with the pickup with 10 seconds to spare. So Ios is going to bring it home for W. It is a 2-3, but yeah, W, they did make it harder on themselves than it needed to be.
Yeah, but they did pick it up at the end. I think, you know, we can be, you know, clairvoyant all we want. But for Profuse, there's no way to win a game like this with the way that he tried to play it. To be honest, I don't think it's ever happening. It would have been funny, though. If he takes the strike and shoots HE, he has a, you know, it becomes like a 50-50 at that point.
And it actually would have been possible because he did roll 655. Also, what happens if Profuse actually does end up hitting the shot that he missed on the EBR earlier?
Oh, so many ifs. What happens if it's a draw, Kian?
Then we would be taking a look at the damage dealt, and there, okay. I mean, Itox doing a lot of, yeah, a lot of stuff for his team, 7.3k damage, but, well, on the lower end, I mean, Jakafar not having the most profound...
I don't even know where he
impact.
died.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure either. Yeah. Well, that's all I have to say about this, actually.
W made such a mess of this at numerous points. When they played at F1 and they tried to kill Yuzak and they sat in the open for the E100s for some mysterious reason. And they were getting volleyed down like Klorf. Not just him though, but like everything that was pushing out were just getting volleyed. Instead of them going like left and being fine, they sat right and just in the open. They really did not want to win this.
I mean, Ios did, and Itox did. I guess if your name starts with an I, then you do want to win it. But yeah, part of the other W players at points in time in this battle maybe inting a little bit, possibly the information lacking on the international team, because usually when you take shots at damage, especially if there's like 2 to 3 E100s shooting at you, then you're like, well, we cannot stay here, guys. We need to move to this other angle so we can, you know, focus on gunning down the targets without taking shots ourselves from tanks that are realistically not even involved in the shootout. But yeah, like this, it was close, but, well, no big problem in that round here for W as they managed to stay alive in the match. However, Mafia now with an approach towards Ghost Town, and that one doesn't involve any light tanks whatsoever. It's going to be double B, double 430U, a Batchat, a 121B, and an E100.
DBLYOO and return second to the double lined EBR RHM, first B for to the U, T57, double BZ. Now we have to take into account this double BZ is an interesting one.
Usually you don't really see that many BZs on a Ghost Town, which is kind of a flat map. So the bonus at the start of the game where you get to double your engine power by pressing the rocket booster, it really only applies on maps where you have to go up at the start. However, we do see why the BZs have been picked. They do make it pretty quickly in towards the middle of the map, but it's kind of going to be an awkward standoff as Mafia, they obviously do have this cap strategy as no lights have been picked. And now we have tripled 430U or make that double plus 1-1B in support that would be able to push off the cap at any point in time as Ozek beelines it over with that Fosh B. He does find Itox, but W, they do have a strike available should it come towards C-Cap, and Barkis immediately getting found by Jakufar.
And Orchek's clipping out, but it's going to be healing back and a big strike hitting home on a Mafia, and W found all the answers in the beginning. The strike from the EBR hits a lot of targets. Now Yuzek and YOLO and Orchek pushed forward in towards Shala. Can they find something here? If they can activate their funny buttons, then who knows? But YOLO might even get round by Brainbreaker. He doesn't actually manage to do it, but the T57 coming back in will shut it down. And now Shala still alive, and W is doing a very good job at drawing these tanks into a permanent crossfire as Fruga puts Orchek down, and 4 Mafia guns left standing versus the 6 of Mafia. It's not gonna be that easy for Mafia. They have something to play with here, but the odds are so bad.
Yeah, keep in mind 2 of the guns on W's lineup are light tanks, so the DPM of those is going to be comparably small, but that doesn't matter if the tanks keep falling on the lineup in blue as another Batchat and the 1-1B bite the dust. That is the Inspire gone, not that it matters. Profuse getting absolutely annihilated by that Fosh B of Itox, and now only Yuzek remaining, and from a 1-3 deficit, this time it's W making the comeback. Just like OLS Season 1, they really start playing when they're up against the match point.
Well. Yeah, Mafia there tries to play aggressive, but they lose a Force B before anything even happens, and that's like such a detrimental factor there once you have already 1 gun down. I mean, the lights, of course, they're not the greatest tanks for fighting, but at the same time, though, Key, you know, they were able to find the first kill, and then, okay, you have the double light, but they only have 1 more combat tank at that point, and you can definitely play off of it. So, good stuff from W, bringing it to tiebreaker. It will be Pilsen. So, I think Moff is like secretly like hoping, you know, that W pulls it out.
Well, let's see. First of all, I think it was even last season Tiebreaker Pilsen in between Mafia and W took it. If I am correct, I might not be. It's been quite some time and some matches in between that. But first of all, well, Jakufar last round, not with the biggest of impacts this time around, though. 4 kills, 5k damage, almost perfect shooting in that T57 together with Itox as well. Ios, some of that damage maybe down from a strike, and Klurf, I mean, at the bottom of the board. Then again, he is an RHM, and here on the other lineup, we do see where the problems begin, and this time it's not that sweet smile. Instead, it is that Barkis wasn't able to get more than 1 shot out. YOLO getting killed after 2. And yes, Marcel able to bring home 5, but realistically, the guns by Mafia getting just focused out so much better than the guns on W that realistically just had such a brutal crossfire. And yes, there were 2 lights in the lineup, but if you're effectively able to remove 2 tanks from the enemy lineup, together with YOLO and Barkis doing 1200 in between the 2 of them, then that doesn't matter anymore. And this, what matters now, is what brings us to Pilsen. And I've said before, both teams not completely averse to fast cap, bait and switch strategies here.
So, after seeing 6 rounds, Gihan, between Mafia and W, where they've been fighting it out, no team actually managing to win in regular time, if you had to put your money somewhere now...
So... my prediction before going into this one was W4-3. I think that Mafia kind of had Mafia so far had the better like showing, I think. That first Ghost Town round, especially from W, where they made it so hard on themselves, didn't look particularly convincing. Didn't end up mattering in the end. That needs to be said as well. But I guess since I predicted it before the match, I'm going to have to go with W here, especially since they're also on a roll. I mean, they're on a hype train. They've won 2 rounds in a row. And now on Pilsen, Mafia did have the pick of which side they wanted, and they wanted South. So that is side 2.
Many the predictions here, I mean, I know who's secretly hoping that W turn it around. I'm gonna stick with my guns. I don't know. It's hard to say a winner here, and the good thing for either team is that they're not leaving this match empty-handed.
Definitely. Every point helps. Both of those teams have secured one of those, but obviously, I mean, it doesn't really need saying. Well, both of those could use the 2 additional ones from winning this one round here, and this is just how it goes, right? You play a complete 6 rounds of World of Tanks, and you will reward yourself essentially with 1 point for playing 6 rounds, and now, all of a sudden, 1 round is worth double of what you played before in 6.
Lineups will say what kind of a game we have. We don't really get many quick caps anymore on Pilsen, though.
No, I really think the addition of the artillery strike on the coal piles plays into that a lot, because it just gives so much utility over towards the team that's trying to defend the cap. And it's not even, or not only the fact that the team on the cap, or the team off the cap, has a lot more time to react, but also the strike, it does 400 on each tank. So that is quite some damage to take into account as we do go in towards the decider in between Mafia and W. It's going to be double mouse, a 1-1B, a 430U, and triple Fosh B for Mafia, trying to get those additional 2 points.
WBZ, double mouse, a 1-1B, a 430U, a Fosh B, and an RHM. No line for Mafia, of course. It's a quick pushing lineup in some regard.
Quick pushing lineup. Those triple Fosh Bs are very, very powerful if they manage to get up close and personal towards the opponents, as we do see only the double mouse getting spotted by Clerf in the beginning of the game. This crucially also means that he's not immediately going to have another plane available to check out what else might be happening on the map. This is why we see W playing kind of defensively here. Yes, the mouses are driving towards the middle. Yes, the BZ is making an advance on the coal piles, but Mafia, they have a lot more going on in their mind, because you can see their team just fanning out in the western part of the map. They're going to secure the strike in E1. They're even considering or hovering the option of pushing Profuse on towards the middle strike, as him and Frugo exchange shots, but no damage taken. The mouse's armor holding up.
Frugo starting to take the mid strike. Mafia not touching the cap. It's one of those plays. We saw it from, I think it was Ping not too long ago as well. They do not care about capping. They're just going to push through. Splatty doesn't know what's coming. Neither does Frugo. YOLO will be the first one spotted. And now Frugo getting tag teams from 2 sides. The 430Us, the 1-1B, and even the Fosh B starting to unload. And W, the oversight, the lack of information. Frugo in that mouse will fall. He will take a little bit of time to do so, but Mafia take him down. There's some strike damage coming back in, and unlike Ping, they are retreating now, realizing they got this advantage and they have to use it.
Indeed, the damage has been done. W have been reduced towards 6 tanks, and now it is up to W to scramble back and make something happen while the Fosh B is reloading. They have to try to find those Mafia tanks out of position, but the pullback from Mafia is going to ensure that exactly this does not happen. Yes, they are paying some HP for retreating here, but most crucially, so far, they've not dropped the gun, and instead they've reverted this in towards what might be a cap and bait and switch play. Triple tank in the cap. W do not have a strike available. Don't be fooled. Clerf used that one on towards the push of Mafia, and all of a sudden the cap goes down towards 0 seconds. The base has been captured, and Mafia, just like that, completely outmined W, and it's going to be 4-3.
Mafia took a little bit longer to do it, but this round they found the opening, the lack of information, the fact that, you know, when you don't have anybody on the mid-strike early, you don't see the crossing, and Mafia exploited that to the absolute perfection. Finding the mouse, backing off, setting the cap, looked all really simple, but it was the correct move at every given time. Send your virtual hugs to Moff, he will need it. I can hear him crying on the backstage, some tears coming out of one of the closets. Bit weird, but you know, it's okay.
Sad British noises currently coming through in my headphones as well. But yeah, the fact remains that I think in this last battle here, Mafia really did show why they were able to pick up rounds easily before this one, and that is just because those are the battle results from the last round. But yeah, that is not necessarily that the damage matters too much. It's just the tactical understanding that was demonstrated here by the team of Mafia was just above that what we saw by W. It's just what you said. Like the fact that Frugo wasn't on the mid-strike earlier, he couldn't see what exactly was crossing over, and then, you know, Mafia recognizing, hey, we have this opportunity here to push, take one tank for essentially free, transition in towards cap. The strike has been used by the RHM as well. No possibilities for resetting, so picture perfect match coming out, or rather game, not match, coming out from Mafia. They reward themselves with an additional 2 points for the board, and yeah, I think that deserves taking another look at it. While we rest our voices, you can admire that tactical master play in the replays. Take it away. And what you just saw was some footage from Project CW, another vehicle-based combat shooter made by Wargaming. If you found that interesting, please feel free to check it out. I think the bot in the chat is going to spam the link just about every 5 minutes. And with that, we are going to some hopefully very exciting action, because the matchup that we have up and coming is quite a cool one. Cashback against Hitmoth. What are your thoughts?
One might call this the instant classic. Two of the teams that have been on top in recent times in the watertight competitive scene. Cashback, of course, the reigning champions from last season of OLS. Hit and Run, obviously, the two-time WCI champions. And, of course, Hit and Run were the only team so far in this tournament. If my memory serves me correctly, I hope I haven't forgotten a very important stat. I believe they're the only team that have beaten Cashback so far.
Yeah, indeed, and they'll try to repeat that. Obviously, that victory that we are talking about is from Phase 1, where Hit and Run were able to get the better of Cashback, and so far, really the only team that have been able to do that. I mean, LTP were able to take a point off of Cashback in that phase, but since that, Cashback and Hit and Run, Cashback and LTP have met again, and there, Cashback took the 4-2 victory as well. I mean, community predictions, despite that matchup in Phase 1, are still vastly in favor of the team of Cashback. It is still 79% Hit and Run, taking a measly 21. That is round about, yeah, well, a fifth of people predicting, with the former and maybe future, again, Polish powerhouse Cashback still the reigning, the defending champions of Season 1, however.
Yeah, and of course they're already locked into those playoffs. I don't think it's so much that people don't believe that Hit and Run could beat Cashback. I think they're definitely more than capable, and people know that. It's more a question of how likely is, like, if you replayed the match over and over again, how many times is it likely that Hit and Run could win that? So people just don't have the same level of belief. But this could really go any direction. Like, we could have a very close tight series. We could have Hit and Run coming out on top, or we could have Cashback running away with it.
Yeah, indeed. Ketsai now coming in, self-announced best light tank player in the world, but he's playing against someone that some call the actual best light tank player, so that's going to be a matchup to watch out for. Ketsai against Liberty, obviously. And here we have another key player. It's the Barbarian. Get your goat emojis ready in a Twitch chat, because as the average damage suggests, Barbarian has been dropping quite a few stunner rounds.
Yeah, the more goat emojis that drop in chat, the more powerful he becomes, so it would seem. Map pick and bans. Here we go. We've got Ents being picked by Cashback. Very interesting. Hit and Run have done pretty good work on this map so far, so it's interesting they want to pick into that. Then we're going to go to Cliff. Two very brawly maps to start it off with. Then Pilsen, if necessary, and Studzianki as the tiebreaker.
Yeah, I don't really want to read too much into maps being picked normally, but here I want to lose a few words about it. Both Ensk and Cliff, those are two maps. Usually when you pick it, you're saying, well, we do believe that when it comes to a brawl, we are just the better team with the better calls and the better communication. And especially the fact that Hit and Run have looked pretty good on Ensk so far means that Cashback are like, well, you have been looking good on it. Well, actually, we don't care, guys. We are still the better team, so let's freaking go. And community predictions, all of us except for Ducky saying it's gonna go towards a tiebreaker, with Phil being the odd one out. He's predicting for Hit, and Ducky is saying 4-2 for Cashback, but really split predictions and a lot of tiebreaker predictions, indicating here that, well, what we said remains true. This one could go either way.
Definitely, and this is the first time that Phil is really going out on a limb and taking a risk, so I swear to God, man, I hope it doesn't actually work for him, because I've been taking risks, and I've been so close with the number of round wins so many times, but I'm just an absolute wreck now, and I need this to go against Phil if I have any hopes at overcoming that. I'm actually more under threat of getting overtaken by Gaki, which would be just a disaster for me, but
Moff,
it is what it is.
99% of predictors stop before winning big, so just keep going at it. But yeah, Hit and Run is going to come in with a double E100, double mouse, double Fosh B, and the whole Re.
Yeah, Ketsai bringing that Ho-Ri, we've seen him do that plenty of times. We also saw LTP bringing double in the other game on Ensk earlier today. Cashback bringing one mouse, double Fosh B, 1268v4. Then we got double E3 and an E4, so quite a change up in their original strategies that we have seen on this map so far. They're also moving back into the Juggernaut TD meta, so some teams like Darkside and Cashback now maybe thinking that we didn't uncover all the stones and there's still more to be had. Instant trades coming out. Franic minus 1k on that mouse. Piotr also takes a bit of damage, but the good thing for Hit and Run is that if there's any tanks you want to bleed that HP on, it is those mouse.
Yeah, Franic is now going to keep on going further as Call Me Piotr taking 1500 damage once again to the face. And I think those Juggernaut TDs actually might be once again a meta reaction towards the increased amount of Fosh Bs that we are seeing because, well, they do have the damage reduction skill to just mitigate a lot of the damage that the Fosh Bs do. So round and round the meta goes, and this time around it's going to be Pansfury with a good shot in towards Twilight as we do see Cashback with a reaction and a strike coming out from Hit and Run. Twilight being reduced towards 1200 needs to be careful because T-Sec keeps clipping out. We do see the damage reduction coming in, and now Barbarian on the other side of the map is going to drive just behind Franic and is going to open up. His clip should be enough, even though Franic was just able to get the heal ability out. Does he have another shot? Yes, he does. So Barbarian is going to claim the first sculpt just before Twilight gets shut down. And now those Fosh Bs by Cashback that have gone through the cities, they are on the long reload. Meanwhile, Hit and Run in the north of the in the south of the map, excuse me, have tried a repush as Monster has spent his clip as well, and he does face two tanks of the enemy team. As I said, trying to get another shot in. The mouse is slow, but not slow enough for Monster to not take another shot here as Cashback and Hit and Run trade blows here. Aka though getting found. T-Sec has a fully loaded clip, but the problem for him, that E3 front is indeed very, very problematic to penetrate. Aka just in the face. He does have the ability active as well, but T-Sec able to heal, and the E3 does get shut down. 5 versus 4 tanks for Hit and Run, but Cashback, they do have more HP.
They do, and Ketsai is about to fall to IZ now. Monster pushing in towards Liberty in that 1v1. Does he have enough in the clip to pick up the kill? He might, but he's gonna fall. Liberty actually finds the kill and manages to survive on a one-shot. Now begins his heal cycle, which is gonna give him more health back. And Cashback, it looked disastrous at one point in this game. Twilight was caught in the middle of the open on the rails, but somehow once again Cashback have turned it around back in towards their favor. Barbarian takes a shot as he crosses back towards the city. Now starts to heal a little bit of that back, but the problem for Hit and Run is that they have half the HP remaining, and these E100s, maybe they'll be able to do a shot of damage to Liberty, but he's going to be able to start clipping out afterwards. T-Sec needs to be there to support Pansfury, but they're both looking the wrong way. Pansfury falls towards Liberty, and now T-Sec is caught in the middle of the rails. He did put a clip in, but he gets striked and falls, and now it's just DJ left in the 1v1, and he has no hope of winning this round. And we have seen this so many times before, where it looks like Cashback are down and out of the round, and somehow they pull it back.
Yeah, although this time around, I think the HP were always close, so Cashback just getting those crucial engagements throughout the game where, well, their tank survives on one shot, and thanks to heal abilities, after, you know, let another 10 or 15 seconds pass, all of a sudden, it's not a one shot anymore. Suddenly you can tank 2, tank 3 shots again. You can, with those Fosh Bs, get unspotted, just relocate, emerge somewhere else, and be a threat just round about the map. So Cashback definitely getting the jump here on towards Hit and Run. It was close, but I think it was never like in one shot of damage close territory. I think Cashback always a little bit with the edge.
Perhaps, but you know, Twilight did bleed a lot there, and that the HP was going substantially in favor of Hit and Run. Ketsai doing a lot of damage there. There was a point where he was able to get off like machine gun because he was able to pick up a kill, and obviously the Ho-Ri ability, when you get a kill, your reload basically goes to 0 pretty much. So he was able to get out quite a lot of damage there, and in the end it might have actually mattered the damage that those double mouse of Franek and Piotr took in the beginning. It may have actually come back to bite them because it just meant that they were softened up, and Cashback were able to pick up those kills way more easily than they otherwise would have.
Yeah, definitely Piotr taking so much damage at the start, and Franek as well was a problem because that opened up the playing field for those Foch Bs of hit and run to come in and just, you know, split up one Foch B per mouse. And if you're then able to finish off those mouses and just go in towards complete reload with the Foch Bs, it has definitely paid off for you. And it did in the end for Cashback. Phase 1 scores, we talked about it. Hit and Run getting the narrow victory in Phase 1. And if this first round here is anything to go by, then we are in for actually a lot of close rounds. With the better end for whom, that is obviously up for grabs. First of all, let's wait for what exactly the lineups are going to be for this second round of Ensk that Cashback have picked. Mind you, they were able to get the first round, but will they be able to go for the second? They do pick an E100 double T57 1-to-1 B double Foch B and a V4. So once again, not completely abandoning the idea of Juggernaut TDs or Cashback.
No, in Hit and Run are definitely still leaning into that Foch B meta, bringing 3 of them themselves. Double T57 to back it up. So that's a lot of burst firepower. They are going to be able to blow someone up real quick if they get that opportunity. Ketsa and Piotr going to be the anchoring pieces in the double mouse there. So Hit and Run clearly going for something aggressive, but we've seen this work and fail on multiple occasions where you go so aggressively. If you get the initial push shut down, then you can find yourself in a tough spot here. Hit and Run just playing the rails at the start. Piotr still investigating towards this part of the map, and Hit and Run have decided that they want to make their hold here. They want to prevent Cashback from taking the field. They do need to be careful though, because they are still splitting. It's got double Foch B unspotted at the moment, but they do get lit, so the jig is up. Cashback know what is around this corner, and if Hit and Run are not careful, if they don't have their pieces in the right place, they could be about to get completely owned.
Well, let's see. The double T57 from Hit and Run is driving through the cap to get towards Twilight, but in the meanwhile, the engage is going to start for Cashback in the south of Ensk as T-Sec goes down towards one shot. Doesn't completely get blown up, however, and Barbarian is going to try to pick up that Foch B. It's going to be Iset to blow it up, but that was already quite some heal coming in, and this is why we see Hit and Run with more HP currently. 2 kills for each team, but those T57s of Hit and Run, they are already on the long reload. They're about to be off that as Pan's Fury survives on 14, is going to heal up, but probably not enough to be a 2-shot for any kind of tank. 5 versus 5 here, and Pan's Fury crucially staying alive for now on the Hit and Run lineup as the T57s are gonna try and come in with the engage for Hit and Run, but those are 2 T57s on Cashback's lineup as well. They're able to retaliate, and in comes Little with that Foch B. Let's see how much he will be able to do.
Yeah, Piotr's doing a really good job here of just forcing Cashback to fight him, forcing them to shoot him. They do not want to focus out that mouse. They're literally just ignoring him, even though he's right next to them, in amongst the fight the whole time, just constantly putting in shot, being a total nuisance to the guys from Cashback. But Cashback still have the gun advantage here. They may be down HP, but they Hit and Run need to be careful. Ketsa manages to pick up one of the kills. Franek is going to be off reload shortly. Liberty in that 1 versus 1. Can he survive? No! Isaac picks up the kill on Franek critically right at the end, and now he shields Liberty, and somehow they've done it again, Key. How have they turned it around once more? Ketsai alone in the mouse by himself, and suddenly there's 4 tanks left from Cashback to none of Hit and Run.
Chaos. Absolute chaos here on Ensk round number 2, and I think not even the players were completely able to see what was happening. They were probably much too busy trying to penetrate their shots here, because in those shootouts, being able to actually deal the damage while everything is happening is the most crucial thing, together with trying to focus fire. And you could really see both teams struggling to identify the proper targets to focus fire those, because at some point in time there were some half HP mouses somewhere, there were some one-shots driving around for longer than they should have. So I think both of those teams, in this absolute mayhem of this ends ground number 2, struggling to completely understand what was going on. But once again, Cashback with the better end to it. They did find, once again, those crucial shots on towards the low HP targets. They managed to keep some people in the fight. And this is what, in the end, put it up for them. I mean, 4 tanks remaining, it actually is more than, you know, it realistically should have been, but Liberty stayed alive on a one-shot. I said basically a one-shot. Little was super low. So, yeah, I think Hit and Run not able to, you know, really close the lid on some of those kills that they would have liked to have.
Yeah, and you see the problem there is, while Piotr is doing a great job in his mouse, just trying to get out as much damage as possible and kind of bully Cashback and force them to shoot him, he actually ends up being top damage for his team, which, you know, it's a great individual performance, but it's not what Hit and Run want. You don't want your mouse to be your top damage dealer. You want your mouse to bait and tank the shots for everyone else so they can farm. And I think that in that moment, in the end, the amount of firepower that Cashback had was just really overwhelming. Liberty was just constantly shooting in that 1-to-1B. They lacked, Hit and Run lacked the DPM in that late game fight, and while the HP was great for them all throughout it, they just weren't able to pick up the key kills in the end, and eventually Cashback were able to overwhelm them with the numbers.
I think the key difference maker actually were the T-57s on either team. They were around 3.2k damage for Hit and Run, and they were around 4.8k damage for Cashback. So that just means 2 clips versus 3 clips for each of the T-57s. So that is 8 more shots in total that the Cashback ones were able to put out. But the action is not going to stop. We are immediately going to transition over towards Cliff. So now we are in Hit and Run territory. You would think at least, and Hit and Run are going to bring an interesting choice of double BZ75, double TVP, double FOSH-B, and RHM. I'm not the biggest TVP fan, actually.
No, and neither am I. And I'm actually worried for them here because the TVP is very, very squishy. And while it has the ability to reload very quickly, it doesn't have quite the damage output to be super threatening to tanks like the BZ, tanks like the 50B. 50B obviously a squishy tank, but it's still got more HP than those mediums, and if Cashback go for this straight north brawl, I'm definitely favoring them in this situation.
Well, let's see what exactly is going to happen, as the RHM by Cashback is going to be driving around the hill. He's going to be complemented by, well, nothing, as all of the other tanks by Cashback are either middle or a donut, and the FOSH-B from Hit and Run needs to be extremely careful indeed. We do see it turn around on the minimap. That's actually the team captain Monster, as now the brawl in the middle of the map is about to erupt in between those BZs that do have quite considerable alpha, and from the donut we do see Little putting in some shots in towards Franek here. He has 2 more remaining, make that one, I think, perfect clip coming out from Little. And the Cashback BZs, yes, they look like they're falling back a bit, but that is just because they want to actually bait those Hit and Run BZs in towards the fire of the other tanks on their lineup. And now the TVPs start coming in, but that is only like 1.3k clip potential in their chambers. Now Ketzai already reloaded, though the DPM of the TVPs is going to start coming in as Pan's Fury to drop, and Twilight still very healthy. Ketzai, that TVP dropping as well, so Hit and Run not really finding a lot of success.
Yeah, and there's just so much HP to chew through on these BZs. Twilight re-pushing back in towards the middle. Little might have just overcommitted here and ran straight into the FOSH-B of T-Sec. So he is actually going to go down relatively for free. A bit of an individual misplay there. Mentos now picks up the kill on towards Barbarian on the 1-2 line, and he's going to be able to harass that 50B. Don't know who it is, but he's going to be able to provide quite a nuisance, make a nuisance of himself for that tank. Liberty now being found out by DJ in the TVP. That's also an important kill. Now we're going into the 3 versus 3. Twilight, he's not a tank that has big DPM here, and that Fosh B's still got a lot of health left on top of him, but Squeezy is here in the 50B. He's going to try and look for that kill on towards T-Sec. I would have thought he wanted to go for Mentos, but he's going to go for the slightly immediate, easier kill. He's got 1 shot left here, and now Mentos needs to run away, but he's got so much open ground to cover before he can get into safety. He's surely going to take another big HE shot. No intuition being used there, so Mentos does manage to get away. The problem for Hit and Run now is that they'd have no health, and they're both stuck in this 8-9-0 line. Cashback can keep good tabs on them. They know exactly where they are, and they can stop them from running away. I'd love to see Mentos' equipment right now to see if he has low noise exhaust, to see if he can maybe sneak out of the situation. There's a strike being used. It does hit on towards Twilight, so that is important. Now he is 1 clippable for the TVP, and he's in a bit of an awkward position here. Mentos now peeking into him. They realize that Squeezy is out of the fight in the 50B, but the timing, they've got to go right now, and Twilight is refusing to fire his shot. He knows that if he fires, the TVP will kill him, so he's holding his shot as long as possible to delay for Squeezy to come in from the back lines, and Squeezy cleans it up.
Absolutely perfect decision making from Twilight in this situation. That was sometimes not shooting is better than shooting, and that is exactly what we saw. Those kind of plays are what sets apart the good players from the great. Him having the situational awareness to realize, hey, they must be directly in front of me. Both of them, even though the TVP was not spotted, that was actually full usage of both halves of the brain.
Yeah, definitely. And, you know, DJ was just right there. He was so ready to go around that corner and clip, and Mentos was doing everything he could. He's driving in the middle of the open, trying to get that BZ to fire, but Twilight reading the situation perfectly, realizing that it is better to not shoot, better to not do damage in the long run, allowing Squeezy to get himself into the game. And like I said, that end game normally you would favor Hit and Run in that situation because they've got the light tank, right? But the positions that they had and the HP that they had were just completely compromised. They were completely stuck into that 8 line of the map. They couldn't go anywhere. DJ, have some sympathy for him because he did 6.8k in that TVP. He was doing a lot of farming, but unfortunately the other TVP of Ketsai only did 900.
Yeah, Ketsai with a little bit of an overcommitment in that TVP, but really if the call is to, pull Davai over push middle with everyone, then someone's got to bite the bullet. In that case, it was Ketsai. And I mean, between them, then the TVPs did okay. But once again, I think we have to just commend Twilight for an absolutely crazy play with just enabling the 50B, giving him the time to flank around. That is exactly what his team needed. Now, there is the argument, we are getting completely ahead of us here because it was a great play, and I don't want to take anything away from it, but still, even if he fires at the RHM, there is the possibility the 50B does one clip both of them. So,
but it's about insurance, right? Because if he fires sooner, it gives Hit and Run an opportunity to get back into the game. If they kill him quickly, they can maybe get back in towards middle. They may be able to scatter across the map, and then Squeezy might not find the kill on the RHM in particular, because the RHM, when you go into a 1v1, he's going to have a pretty good chance of winning the round. So still absolutely massive play there, and I love decision making like that, where it's not crazily, it's not like some crazy flick shot or some incredible play. It's just very smart decision making.
It just goes to show that World of Tanks is the thinking man's action game. I always wanted to say that one. And there we go. Hit and Run now trying to fend off the match point that Catchback already have. A singular 50B, double BZ75, a Yo tank, a CS63, a Fosh B, and the T100 being brought out against no light tanks on Cashback's lineup. And the plane by Mentos coming out is picture perfect.
He does spot 5 tanks playing topside, so they might have a pretty good idea, especially given Cashback have played double 50B in the 1-2 line quite a lot. 150B is spotted in that 1 line. We've got Ketsai committing towards the radar at the start to get the immediate respot and info for his team. He is now locked into that part of the map. He does have good coverage from the rest of his team. However, donut control has been taken from the side of Cashback as Little peeks a little bit, trying to poke and prod and see what he can find. Aka trading it out with Tsek in the 50B there. We've got IZ playing on the ramp though, and this is a very powerful position. Strike comes in, hits all 3 heavy tanks in the mid for the side of Hit and Run, and IZ's position on top of the ramp is very powerful, and they have no one to counter him at the moment.
Indeed, IZ might be the difference maker here. Yes, Mentos does have the hill, but the aforementioned issue of the T100 once again coming in here. Like, yes, it has a good position. Yes, Mentos can continuously shoot, but, well, his kind of damage output is limited because he is just a T100. And now in the middle of the map, Hit and Run need to be extremely careful because Franek in that MBY is already down towards a possible 2-shot for those BZs. And indeed, in comes the overpush here by IZ, by Twilight. Franek going down towards a 1-shot. Those bat shots from the donut area really putting in the work and putting in the hurt. DJ down towards a possible 1-shot for those BZs. Does heal up a little, tries to boost it out of there. X marks the spot, but IZ here also has a booster available and does fluff his shot, but still Cashback. They have 12,000 HP, and the next rocket with the ram. Insult to injury, and Cashback are looking on track for a clean sweep.
Yeah, they definitely are now. They've got 7 tanks left alive. They have yet to drop a gun so far in this game. Monster is the next one to fall for Hit and Run, and I'd have to say, of all the games we've seen so far in this matchup, this is probably the most dominant one we've seen right at the end. Cashback are gonna win this 4-0, but the scoreboard doesn't tell the full story. Hit and Run have been competitive in 3 out of 4 games here, and they were so close to winning so many of the rounds, but on this day, in this particular match, it looks like Cashback have come and edged them just ahead.
Exactly. Percentiles separating both of those teams here today, and I do agree with you. The score is not going to tell the story of the match, but in a week, who is going to care about it? The final score is going to be 4-0, and no one will really remember that Hit and Run played with an absolutely commendable effort. What will be on Liquipedia for eternity is a 4-0 that went kind of quickly, and Cashback absolutely, well, score-wise, wiped the floor with Hit and Run.
Definitely, and they get secure the full 4 points for not even winning in Tiebreaker as well. So they'll go up to 29 now, and I don't know exactly what the maths is, but the more days that go by, it'll be, oh, Cashback are now guaranteed for playoffs. Cashback are guaranteed for at least 3rd. Cashback guaranteed for at least 2nd. I don't know. They might even be locked into number 1 at this point, because there's only going to be 2 more play days to go. But as it is, it's another dominant display from Cashback. Hit and Run, they put up a good fight, but it just was not meant to be.
Yeah, and I think the most important thing to mention here is actually not the cliff, where Cashback looked stellar, and I mean, Twilight with a 200 IQ play, but instead Ensk, where we had those super chaotic rounds where, you know, no one could really be sure what was happening, least of all the players that are obviously playing with incomplete information. And still in both rounds, magically, Cashback managed to pull ahead in both rounds, just taking the ever so slight victories in all of those small skirmishes, those mini engagements that were happening throughout the map, just, you know, scraping the butter off of Hit and Run's bread, and just securing those victories that lesser teams would not be able to take away from Hit. So today it's going to be a white vest for the team of Cashback that really have put on a show here, and you have to be a little bit sad for Hit and Run that they are not going to take home anything countable here. If anything, they might take home that, you know, at least it was over quickly and we didn't look too bad doing it, although the score, oof, is what some people will say. Anyway, though,
that's definitely a good way to describe it. But what I would say is this is a similar theme to, if you remember the playoffs in the finals last season, it's a similar theme to that, where they're so close to them, but they're just not able to pick up the round wins.
Yeah, and with all of that being said and done, we are going to conclude the playday of the OLS for today. But as you just saw in the schedule for today, we have another matchup incoming. And that is not in the OLS, no, it's actually in the OCS, where the Legends Series is, well, sort of the first division. The Champions Series is kind of the second one, and there were a lot of matches played throughout the last days and weeks in between teams there. And the top two that have emerged are Lotus and Yogurt. So we are going to have a best of 9 after a quick break, and the winner of that best of 9 is going to play in the next season of the OLS. So quite a lot to play for either team. We'll be back soon.
And your winners, your Onslaught Legends Series champions will be Cashback.
Mafia are your Fragstore Winter Invitational champions. They take it
24, and the old champion, it is the new champion. Hit and run, the trophy goes. They've done it. Are united in
Hello there, and welcome back. And the playday for the OLS might be over, but we are not done yet with the stream. Two team names that you haven't seen so far. It's going to be Lotus playing against Yogurt, and for those unaware of who those people are, or, you know, what the OCS is, well, if there is a first division called the Onslaught Legends Series, well, then there needs to be a second one as well called the Onslaught Champions Series. This is where you as well can fight in weekly tournaments while the OLS is ongoing to qualify for exactly that OLS, and qualifying is exactly what we are going to be witnessing today. One of those two teams, Daki, is going to make it to OLS Season 3.
Yeah, and this is the bracket that they went through. Yogurt beating Weekend 5-0, forfeit their match there. And Jesters beating, losing against Aurora. Then Yogurt convincingly beating Aurora, giving us the finals here where we have Lotus versus Yogurt.
Indeed, and coming into this one, I think we should go a little bit deeper into who those people are, and most importantly, Lotus, because that team does have quite a few familiar names from last season of OLS as well, because some, if not many of their players previously did play under the tag of Storm. However, then some, a lot of actually reshuffling in the Polish community with a lot of players switching teams. Absolute classic at this point in time, and all of a sudden you end up with a team that doesn't have enough players counting as core players anymore to be able to continue playing and keeping their spot. And then we had some requalification for the Season 2 of the Onslaught Legends Series, where to everyone's surprise, the Bobbers managed to beat Lotus out of this one, and now Lotus, they have battled their way through the Onslaught Champions Series, and they have one more match to go, one more opponent to go, the team around Sir Jacob, to make it into the OLS. But obviously Rachmedik and the boys, they don't want to let that one happen.
No, but I think all eyes here are on Lotus. From my perspective, at least. Like when I'm looking at Kihan, I see the Lotus team has the experience, they've got the players, they want to, of course, make their way back into the OLS, and they've been here before. Like they know everything.
They do know everything. That being said, as I alluded to, they have failed before to make it back into the OLS. And, well, today they have the chance to make up for that. Lotus also, I think for years, for quite some time at least, the first team once again to be signed by an organization. So that is something that sets them apart from all the other teams that we have seen today, and in fact, in all of the OLS and OLC seasons before. Now, map pick and bans, this one is going to be a best of 9, so the possibility to see 5 maps in total, including the Tiebreaker, Himmelsdorf and Studzianki. The map pool, by the way, exactly the same as for OLS. Himmelsdorf and Studzianki are going to get banned out, so we are starting on Cliff. Quick and easy to start it off, and then immediately into a very, very technical and tactical map in towards Ghost Town. And at least we are going to get one round of Ensk, if not more. So it's going to be brawling, full-on brawling again, into Airfield. So once again, change of pace, where it's all about the tactics. And should we require a tiebreaker, then that one is going to happen on Pilsen.
So an interesting set of maps. We're going to kick it off right with some action. We just saw a beautiful cliff between Hit and Run and Cashback. So will it be on the same level? I mean, doubtful, but they'll try their best at the very least to surprise us.
Yeah, I mean, there is a reason why Hit and Run and Cashback are the names to talk about also when it comes to top title contenders for OLS Season 2. When you're in the OLS, then naturally in your life you're probably going to divert more time to training just because the prize pool is quite substantial. Quick shout out to everyone contributing. Thank you very much. But yeah, we do see community, or rather caster predictions in between Lotus and Yogurt. And in case you forgot the logo, well, we've all gone with Lotus here. I am the kind of odd one out. I'm saying 5-3, so I'm giving 3 rounds to Yogurt. Everyone else says 5-2, but realistically, yeah, as you said, Lotus, the team to watch out for. They're probably coming in here with quite a bit of rage in their stomachs just because they weren't able to show off in Season 2 of OLS.
I mean, maybe it was like a humbling experience in a way, you know, like you want to make it, but then you don't make it, so you end up spending a season in the OCS, and maybe they're like, they're not ready to get surprised again. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Maybe it was just because I think the match in which they qualified was like a best of 7 or best of 9 Bobas, that is. So maybe it was just some bad hour and a half that was there by Lotus, and now they certainly have the chance to make up for it. There are going to be more chances after, should this one go awry, and should Yogurt qualify here, which certainly isn't past them. There is a reason that they're here, and immediately we do see the lineups are not really that much different from what we're used to. Actually very conservative by both teams. Yogurt throwing a 60 TP though in there, and never mind, that's going to get switched out with quadruple BZ, double Batshot, and an RHM.
An RHM available for Lotus as well, a Gorilla, a CS, a Bat, double BZ, and a 60 DP. So slightly different meta than what we saw before, Key.
Slightly different meta. Then again, I would be perfectly fine with seeing those setups in OLS as well. But here we go now, Yogurt. They are going to see 6 tanks at the start of the battle, only the light tank remaining unspotted. But because 5 tanks on their team were spotted as well, they obviously do know what they're up against as both teams drive in towards the middle. RHM on both sides instead of a T100. So kind of interesting choice as Lukin and Quick in the middle of the map are going to exchange spots. Chucky as well, maybe not screaming at once, but certainly is now as he does take 1700 to the face once again. Hopefully he's not abusing the ears of his teammates too much at this point in time. Down towards 200, immediately down and out.
Yeah, Yogurt starting it off with a beautiful pincer. Very risky as well with the tanks coming from 1-2 line. They were kind of by themselves, but they do find immediate success. They find Chucky in that TS63. Reshak trying to clip out there. He needs to be careful. Lukin will be supporting him from the top. So it's not over just yet for Lotus, but it's just not looking very good.
No, and starting 6 versus 7 in this format here is always a tremendous disadvantage, as Lotus will now have to play from behind a little bit, and Yogurt are starting to exploit this. Not only are they putting pressure in the cap where Milo will probably have to commit on towards it, Humble as well with a bundle of shells in his bag is flanking around the outside with that Batcher at 25T just to get shots on towards possibly the BZs in the middle. Also good playing on towards Sir Jacob coming out from Yogurt. So far so good for the team in red.
Now Lotus being pressured back, Sir Jacob taking another BZ shot as well. He does retaliate, but the planes will not stop coming in on his position. Down towards 760, and that BZ that's pushing around the hill is giving a little bit of an opening, but even he is trading 1-for-1, so not too much to worry about. Milo finds a reset, and Stone knows he has to stay in the middle as well. It's really dire for Lotus. It's more than dire actually, as Alex is forced across. Yogurt in round number 1 show a clean execution of this beautiful cliff gameplay, as even if Sir Jacob hits a shot or 2 shots or 3 shots with double the HP, it's very unlikely that we see Lotus recover.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, you said Milo found a reset. That was just because Ramadik felt so confident that he could peak here, giving resets, free resets just for trading it out. Another tank for Lotus falling. That was one of the BZs in the middle of the map. And Rishek here now with that bad chat, engaging on towards Liquor, even taking the big ram to the face as the 60 TP of Alex gets picked up in the lower left side. You do see that actually the tank from the hill was able to pick up the BZ-75, but, you know, where there is one BZ, there is most likely more, and Sophia on full HP is going to make it onto the hill. He is spotted, so Lukin has some early warning, but is it going to help? Doubtful. Triple the HP for Yogurt now, and more guns.
Good stuff there from Yogurt in round number 1. A risky strategy, but it pays off wonderfully for them. They're going to be very, very happy with the way that this went. They come in this probably as the underdog. I mean, I would say that we consider them the underdog. And they immediately say, we're here to play. Don't underestimate us. We're not afraid. And yeah, just beautiful. Beautiful stuff immediately.
Well, Lotus have not given up, it seems. They do pick up another tank with Rishek with the flank in the bad shot, but now Mindbreaker is very, very healthy. A big shot coming out from Sophia as well on towards Lukin. The strike is probably going to kill Rishek, as it does. 100 Leve with the pickup, and Humble in the meantime has found the Grilla of Sir Jacob. So Sophia, now that he's finally reloaded in the BZ, should be able to make short work of Lukin as he does. And Yogurt, the, I guess underdog is still fair to say, find the first point on Cliff. Lotus is going to start off playing from behind.
Well, humbling experience. Key continues. They lose the first round. Yeah, their strategy only works if they take the hill with the CS and the light. Chucky died, and I'm pretty sure they were well aware that he was dying. There was like an overload of noise coming from somewhere real quick. I wonder if he was as nice to his teammates here as he is in Onslaught, but that's a different question.
Yeah, indeed. Chucky, I mean, both of us met him in China, is certainly a person that does not keep his opinion hidden. Neither in real life nor in battle chat, where he tends to be absolutely vocal. And so, yeah, I mean, it is like with FCs in, for example, 15 versus 15, you know, dying first just gives you more of an opportunity to cheer on your teammates in, well, a nice or not so nice way. We'll never know.
Interesting, interesting talking, Keyhand. Very interesting talking. Coming from you that led like 3 battles in his whole life, you know?
Oh, more.
No, not more, Keyhand.
Well, sometimes, you know, even leading as a shot caller somewhere does count as leading. Anyway, though, we are leading into round number 2 on Cliff, and I mean, best of 9 is a pretty big matchup already, but the opening here kind of gives a lot of hope for Yogurt, because they see that, you know, if they come here, if they execute their openings properly, if they exploit the mistakes that Lotus is doing, that they can certainly take something home here. And for Lotus, I mean, this first round here needs to be a wake-up call. They cannot really cut any corners. They need to play this one carefully.
Yeah, they have to be very careful. I mean, you know, losing Cliff to 0 would be a disaster. They still have that tendency to play a bit more passive, like they did with Storm on Sujanki, for example. And, you know, if it goes wrong on Cliff, it goes horribly wrong. There's usually not really a middle ground, especially when you lose one gun and then you have a Gorilla.
Ooh.
Lotus not really changing it for round 2 either. Gorilla, T100, AX, BZ, CS. Okay, never mind, they're switching a little bit. No, Gorilla, 4 113s though. 3 113s now.
Indeed, there are a lot of Chinese heavy tanks, but the 113 not really a usual choice. Obviously, the gun is what holds the tank back most, usually, but with the Onslaught modifiers, the gun becomes actually very workable. You also get that 340 heat pen that is more than enough for any kind of target that you should be meeting on Cliff. So let's see. I mean, the 113... it is kind of a heavy so on the more mobile side of heavy tanks, But still, is it fast enough to get to the middle quickly when on the other side you have those BZ75s? That is the question as we do see the opening. A Hurricane and double Batchat for Yogurt is going to drive towards the middle as Liquor with that CS63 is going to get the information tower for his team as well. And now Lukin with that T100 does find a shot in towards Quick and is going to get retaliated upon by the double Batchat of Yogurt that is in the donut. Lukin down towards less than 1k.
Yeah, but he did take the hill. That's the most important part. These 113s are now pushing in from the 2-line. CS63 still covering. They're forcing these Batchats back in towards the middle. There is the CS behind the rock. That's going to be very annoying for Yogurt. But at the same time, though, they do have eyes on this crossing. Ramadik, Sophia, Love and Mindbreaker gonna pressure back towards these 113s. Chucky covering on 1-2, but he's not gonna be able to do too much. Love will take one from Sir Jacob, who gives one on the way out, and in return they're gonna be pressuring back towards the middle. They're gonna take these tanks that they have available and pressuring one towards Vic in the Hurricane, who did not realize what was gonna happen. He explodes. That's not the place to be for a CS63, and Sir Jacob feels the pain, but he will survive. And look at the situation now. Complete cap control for the side of Lotus. 5k HP extra as well. I mean, you could say that they're in a pretty decent position.
Pretty decent is probably an understatement, as they're up by 5,000 and a gun. And realistically, for Yogurt here to have a say about what's going to happen, they need to somehow find a way back towards that cap. I am pretty sure that Yogurt still have a strike available, and Sir Jacob obviously looks ripe for the taking in that one-shot 113, but they need to get to it, and they also need to reset. Sophia and Dramedic are now going to set up for a retake, as the reset strike does end up missing just about everyone. The baby strike is going to come in, so the reset comes in last second, and Lukin and Jacob fall in quick succession, so Yogurt does find an opening. They do find some kills, but are they going to find more? Probably not. Mindbreaker in that Batchat getting shut down as well, and the HP, they're just not there for Yogurt.
But they're trying still. That's closer than you would imagine. Key, that first B is leading the charge. He will fall against the 113. And, I mean, they tried their best, but their fate was sealed a little while ago. But they'll try until the bitter end. And Lotus in round 2 bring that meta that we have not seen before yet in the OLS key hand. Potentially in the OCS there could be something, because the 113, I don't know if we've seen a single one so far this season in the OLS.
I cannot recall seeing a single one, and if this match is anything to go by, there are probably good reasons for this one, as 3 113s are not going to be met with a single victory here in this match for the OLS Season 3, as Liquor is now going to get found by Lotus, and this is going to equalize the scoreline after a quick cliff that, I guess, leaves some questions to be answered by either team. We are going to be at a 1-1.
Deserved coming out, but yeah, the 113 was very interesting.
Actually, did the 113s win?
Yeah, they did.
Was I? Oh my god, I just... Alright. Well...
You know, the good thing is, Kihan, I just...
Cut it. Go to battle results. Go to battle results.
I just ignore it. Like, you know, because I'm used to you being wrong. But your boss, he won't let it go.
No, in our ears, in the production, Phil just completely ended up calling me out. And, well, the 113 seems to be a great tank, guys. 100% win rate. What can I say? Play this tank everywhere, all day, every day of the weekend, 25 hours on Sundays.
I actually think that the 113 is a good tank.
I have a thorough dislike for it, actually.
Skill issue.
Well. Yeah, no. I don't like the 113. I'm sorry. Although the Onslaught with its modifiers, it does mitigate a lot of the issues that the 113 has, like mediocre gun handling, for example, you know, weak ammo rack, weak fuel tanks, all of those kind of things kind of get mitigated, so I can see where the 113 angle comes from, but still, I don't like the tank. I'm sorry. Anyway, though, Cliff did end up getting split 1-1. That means now we are headed to Ghost Town, where we're probably in for a change of pace.
I mean, we should be, but we have seen that Ghostan can be played very aggressively as well. It really depends on how many lights you see come out. But between these two Kihan, I feel like we might see less lights.
I mean, the amount of light tanks that are going to be brought in either team is obviously going to be limited by the amount of light tank players, because not every player will feel comfortable playing light tanks. I think that is something that is often overlooked. Like, how many players do you actually have in your team that are confident and comfortable with picking LT?
Well, since we're all Toxic Legend players, probably every single one of them, you know?
All right.
I mean, you know, those noob Legend players picking light tanks and letting their teammates die, you know?
Yeah, and some of them don't even have 3 marks on their RHM. It's horrible.
I don't have 3 marks on my RHM.
As I said, it's horrible. Anyway, though, let's go in towards Ghost Town, where once again, one of those teams is going to pull ahead. Yogurt is going to bring W100s, well, 1 IS-7 double Batchat, an E4, and an EBR.
Lotus in return, 113s again. Triple. Bat, CS, Bliska, and RHM. It's really interesting key, the meta difference, no?
Yeah, Lotus have an angle here. And, I mean, the 113 angle, as I just recently found out, Enclave was working out. So let's see how exactly they are going to utilize those 113s on a Ghost Town. The possibility is obviously there for fast cap with them to just, you know, book it down and go into hold downs on the cap positions. With the Bliska, for example, holding angles, as Baku is going to get a quick spot on towards the E4 and double E100. Let's see if that somehow persuades those 113s to change their direction or their trajectory. Doesn't seem to be the case, as Sir Jacob takes 2 to the face, down towards 2,100. The punishment on the way back on the move, obviously not great, but Lotus, I think, got what they came for. They have 3 tanks on the cap.
They took that alternative pathing to try and dodge the RHM, but there was no RHM available. Of course, they did not know that. Now they're capping out 12 seconds. There will be the strike available just in time. And now the Batchat taking over the strike in the east, but the strike under being taken as well. I don't think Lotus can rely on this capping play, Keyhand.
No, I don't think they can either. And I just checked. Alex doesn't have a medkit. He has full mobility lineup as well. So that stun is also going to last for quite a while. The cap attempt, in the meanwhile, does get stopped as Liquor does get found by the RHM of Lukin. So good shot in towards him, but in the back is Mindbreaker with 2, make that 3 shots in towards the RHM. But Girls in that E100 actually ends up getting found by the Bluskowitz of Chucky, who now is in full-on aggression mode. Rishek at the same time in the Batchat is starting the flank. The strike comes in, the shutdown comes through, the E100 is no more, and now Chucky can focus on getting Lovey off the angle. But in come the 113s off the cap. I humble the next one to be focused out. Chucky about to be reloaded in that Bliska, does get tracked, does get held over.
He needs more than just a Bliskowitz shot though. Jacob comes in, gives the shot. Now Chucky down towards the 1 shot. But the thing that Lotus is doing right now is they're able to focus out the guns. Chucky alive on 55, Alex alive on 367, but it doesn't matter. They still have their gun in the game. 1 more shot potentially for one of them. And now Rishek clipping out as well. He needs to be careful because he's about to die to Love. He's on the run away, and Chucky realizing that is not something he wants to deal with. Rishek actually does make it behind. A little bit of a Dune. Lukin coming in with some support as well. Rishek about to be reloaded. He would win this 1v1 if it came down to it. Love finds Chucky, but Rishek immediately gets him back before he goes down. And now, when we look at it, it's a 5-on-3 for Lotus. They actually made this work.
Yeah, very, very chaotic mid-game here, but with the better end so far for the team of Lotus. Lukin is peeking here. He is still spotted, maybe doesn't know it, and immediately takes 2 to the face by the EBR, and the Batchat of Mindbreaker is a possible one-shot now, but the cap is what's actually the issue here for Yogurt. They did manage to pick up a strike. There is someone one-strikeable in the cap, and Milo ends up getting reset, but all of a sudden, it's still 5 seconds here. Mindbreaker cannot commit into this one, and Lotus, after killing feeling both Quick and Mindbreaker are going to lock in their second round in the match. The 113s, they do stand undefeated.
Very good stuff there from Lotus. Playing it out, and that was all down to that E100. There was this one E100 on the right, I think it was girls. Once they picked him, then the snowball starts happening. And, you know, they didn't look like they were winning, but they pick up one gun, they pick up another, and another, and another. And then before you know it, you're down on HP, but they have like 3 extra guns, and it's extremely annoying for Yogurt. But there, the experience from Lotus is coming through a little bit more.
Yeah. I think also that they played to the strengths of each and every tank, like the 113s in towards the cap, then they were, you know, taking some of the damage while they were peeking out, and then you have Chucky in that Bliskowitz coming out and really doing a number on the opposing team, getting those high damage shots, getting those high damage kills as well. So Lotus, it was a scrappy round, don't get me wrong, and I mean, Alex probably didn't have the most fun having 2 out of 4 crew members remaining after the opening of the match, but in the end, they, with, I think, superior experience, as well as better shot calling, they managed to make it work, and yeah, Mindbreaker's 5k just not enough to carry his team over the finish line.
Yeah, but like you saw the issues there on the bottom though, like the bat and the E100 not doing too much. And for Lotus, okay, see, the 113s are just the way to be, Kian. 113 number 1.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, 6 113 rounds now played technically with 100% win rate. That is quite the big sample size, Kappa. As we go into round number 2 on Ghost Town. And except for this first round on Cliff, where Yogurt really got the jump onto Lotus, so far, I think Lotus have looked like the more stable team when it came to shootout and especially towards in-game communication. It seems like they're working better together.
Yeah, I mean, that's also because they're like the core, like there's still some core of the team there, Kian. It's not like, you know, there's still some players that play together. They play together in China, so they have that layer figured out. But lineups, Lotus switching it up. Double RHM, a Foch B, a CS, double Batchat, and a 50B.
Absolutely switching it up. I think that might be a curveball thrown Yogurt's way, who have come with an E100, an i7, a Batchat, a Centurion Action X, double 430U, and an E4. So it's going to be double light tank from Lotus against Inspire Medium of Yogurt.
It's very light though for Lotus. Very, very light.
Well, the only tank with actual armor to speak of is the Foch B, I guess, if you discount the, you know, frontal hull of the 50B of Baku. But even the frontal armor of the Foch B can be penetrated because it does have kind of glaring weak spots all over. And I think the problem for Lotus might be that they're playing with double light tank against realistically 7 combat tanks of Yogurt that already have started making their way in towards the cap. And if Rachmedic chooses to, he could even sacrifice himself for the reset on towards the cap with the IS-7. Maybe that is immediately what he's going to go for. And yes, he does try to find the reset, but he failed completely. Alex has the strike, so Rachmedic on the suicide mission doesn't even achieve what he came for.
Yeah, he's gonna fall and in return now. Yogurt realizing they have to do something, but where do they go and what do they do? It's a big question. They have nobody to push on right now, Kihan. They're not in position to really do anything to anybody. Chucky is the weakest link here, where Liquor is potentially able to do something. We can see the blob of red tanks just moving. They know they need to push. They know they need to do something. They don't have a choice anymore at this moment in time. And looking now, driving through the open, Kihan. There's some questions here to what's actually happening. Mindbreaker's in position. He'll drop him low, and they want to kill Liquor, but they've actually put themselves in a position where they could get pushed in return, and that is something that Yogurt should be very, very happy about. It will still be a very hard push for them to execute, but at least Lotus has given them something.
Indeed, and the Foshby of Sir Jacob has dwelled too deep, has gone too far. Girls might be able to pick it up in that E100. Nope, the heal actually does keep the Fosh alive. And now Girls trying to heal up himself as Humble falls in the 430U. Girls finally does get the better of the Fosh, but Alex seems to have been found in that CS63. And throughout all of this, we have to keep in mind that there is double RHM for Lotus, and that means good DPM with HE and the Yogurt HP. They do reflect this. 4 tanks remaining, not a lot of HP here, and Mindbreaker takes the strike as LeVay goes down. Girls to the grave too, and Lotus look on track on Ghost Town. They're gonna net themselves 2 rounds here.
Yeah, that reset attempt there by the IS-7, if it doesn't work out, Gihan, it's almost automatically GG. It became close, but yeah, he didn't realize that it was Alex taking the strike, because there was 3 people there, and for Lotus it was a bit of a free kill. I think they closed in a bit too much at some point, trying to like finish off Liquor, but outside of that,
yeah, I think the Torpedo IS-7 not finding the intended target and not being able to reset the strike, that was kind of what ruined it here, honestly, for Yogurt, because imagine if that IS-7 does get the reset on towards the strike, then all of a sudden all those squishy tanks by Lotus, they need to commit in, they need to go for the resets, and that's also 1200 damage that's then missing on towards the lineup of Yogurt, because I do believe the strike ended up hitting 3 targets, but like this, it ends up not looking the best. Talking about not the best, I mean, really, it's not so cool to call individual people out, but normally with the bad chat in a kind of game like this, you want to do more than 5-4-1.
that too, of course, Gihan, is the thing. That the bad shot of Quick had no way in, and Lotus is starting to just run away with the match. You know, they've got the base, the strats, they're just like, it's 3-1 now. And you don't really notice when you're Yogurt, but it's do or die.
Yeah, the rounds are starting to accumulate for Lotus, and that is, for them, I guess, a pretty good thing. And for Yogurt, indeed, the alarm bells must be ringing at this point in time, as we are going to go from what normally is a slow and tactical map, albeit the rounds on Ghost Town have not really reflected it that much, because both teams once have essentially played an all-in, like, force strat. We are now going to go to Ensk. That does, despite it being so small, offer a lot of tactical variability, as we've seen today already. For example, double Hori, stuff like this, engages with quintuple Foshby, even though they didn't work out, but I think there is a lot of room for creativity regardless on Ensk.
Is there, though?
Yeah.
You really feel there's a lot of room for a lot of creativity?
I mean, we have seen quite the variety of strats being employed, as Yogurt this time around, once again, not really going according to what is supposed to be meta. They do bring double mouse, 1-1B, triple 430U, so an E4. So in a prolonged shootout, if that 1-1B can keep the funny butt mediums going, then that is absolutely brutal DPM. But Lotus, they can counter with that quadruple Foshby.
That's a lot of Foshbys again. Which one would you rather have, 430Us or Foshbys?
I want to choose the Foshbys if they get the jump on something. So I think if Lotus manage to execute well, then it is their game to win. However, if Yogurt manage to receive a push well, then they can only profit from it. It's really hard to say here, lineup-wise, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm willing to agree with you, and they're both taking their side of the map, and they'll have info, of course, about what's happening. Fick there not having a lot of luck in his mouse, takes 1.5k from Sir Jacob and Stone, and immediately the 4-3U pushing through. Liquor getting behind Sir Jacob here, and I think he realizes what's popping. If he gets struck twice, it's going to be Destiny calling for him, and this was a very quick move. But look at Humble, he's the one that didn't commit fully, and Mino already behind the building at A5 will find him fully. So yes, Sir Jacob is gonna go down, but the trade is not as clean as you would think. The Force B is now coming back in, and that's what you talked about the engagement. And so far, Kihan, I would say this is a Force B favored engagement.
Yeah, exactly. The Force B is coming in here now, and you can really see the bleed on the team of Yogurt. That being said, the 430Us are still, all three of them, engaged in the fight, and that is a lot of DPM because the 1-1B is inspiring all of them, as BLYOO is on the long reload here with the Force B of his own. Love is probably calling for backup. He needs some milk. He needs someone to help him gun down this Force B as little engagements are starting all across the map. But Lotus, once again, with the focus fire, they're starting to pull ahead in the kill department. BLYOO, he manages to reload. He gets one more shot before being shot down, and it's a 5 versus 5.
Stone finds a kill, but that will cost him his life. Probably Chucky does have the advantage now of that DPM boost over and over and over again. It's triple Force B and a bat in this situation. Normally, there is no better, but Lukin needs to hit his shots, needs to get his clip out. He finds one, he finds a second, he has 4 left in the chamber. Rishek about to come off reload as well, and Lukin wants to continue, but immediately there is a kill on towards that Force B of Milo. But Lukin finds Ramadik in position to clip out, and he will heal most of that back. He has one more left for Frick. He will find the shot. Chucky to pick up Humble. Rishek should finish this mouse, and Chucky will fall, but it's a Love in a 1v2 against double Force B, and it's not really the greatest situation to be in if you're a 1-1B.
Absolutely not, because those Force Bs, you can see it, they're just building distance, and Lukin, he's even taking the strike. So Lukin and Rishek, they were on different teams in China, but now they are playing together as a dynamic duo to take out the 1-1B of Leve. And the thing is, that strike is even going to make him one clippable as it does come through. The reset comes in, and 6 shots times 400. That's 2,400. That is more HP than Love have remaining. Once again, a furious Force B chasing after an enemy tank. Good track shot even coming in here by Lukin, and they are going to finish off the Inspire medium. I mean, it was his job to stay alive for as long as possible. Just ran out of steam at the end, and Lotus are going to march through it. It's going to be 4-1. It's going to be match point.
Yeah, this was the 430Us against the Force Bs. If Humble is committing with the rest of them, I think they win that game clean. But because they're actually able to trade off decently for Sir Jacob, they have a way back in. If they just roll over Jacob and Milo doesn't find a full clip at the start, they would have just picked up an E3 relatively for free.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you. The free clip on towards the 430U, yes, the 430U obviously doesn't die, but if you're this low as the supposed damage dealer DPM medium, then for the rest of the entire fight, you can take a lot less risks, you cannot trade, you just cannot bring your gun into the fight as effectively. And even though Mindbreaker did less damage than Humble, he probably had to play super, super careful, and it just opened up the playing field for the team of Lotus. And here we can see, I mean, yes, so Jacob ends up getting found, but because there was the play by the 430U on the opposing team, it ends up being an okay trade for Lotus.
Looking doing top damage actually, so he had a really, really good game. But yeah, you see, it's just one of the, I mean, Mindbreaker actually still had a worse game. But the Force B is so powerful if you get the right engagement.
Yeah, I feel like with those triple 430Us, you just need to completely relentlessly push over. And if you cannot find this over push in the 430Us, if you're playing against Force Bs, then it ends up blowing up in your face because you need to gun down tank after tank after tank until there are so few guns remaining on the enemy team that they cannot effectively remove your own 430Us from the game. But because they ended up getting kind of stuck in the first rail position, they weren't able to keep the momentum going and the ball rolling. And that is where Lotus found that way back into the game. Get Force B clips out, get reloaded, do the second clip in Force Bs. And if 2 or 3 Force Bs do that in your team, I mean 2 to 3 clips each, then it's very hard to lose the battle.
And they'll always heal back a little bit. That's the secondary thing. But now, battle number 2. Yogurt with the double force B for 30U, 1.B, and then the W100 and the mouse.
And we have kind of a throwback to an older meta coming out from Lotus with that RHM W4 Mino double force B mouse. I mean, RHM on Ensk, we didn't really see it played a lot this season of OLS. Neither did we see Tesak after the first couple of days of Phase 1, just because, well, teams tend to not bring as many Juggernaut TDs anymore. Obviously, the RHM still has its place with the utility of the plane, because you're going to get a lot of information, but on the other hand, you're immediately giving the information to the opposing team that there is an RHM.
So we can see that the red blob of Yogurt tanks is moving across towards the 1-2 line. They're already the strike being taken by Lukin, so now we gotta see if Lotus can hold this aggressive lineup, this heavy meat lineup as well.
Let's see, first of all, Yogurt is also pushing those super heavy tanks in towards the middle of the map, in towards the cap, and that is something we have seen Cashback and Hit and Run do quite a lot, so maybe some inspiration taken by the team of Yogurt, but with a new spin. Possibly, as Kvik, though, ends up getting reset by the Minotauro of Sir Jacob. And now I think the biggest thing for Lotus is to keep some HP, keep those resets going, and not have their Force Bs in the city be caught out by the hit squad of tanks by Yogurt. And so far, so good. The trades are going vastly in Lotus's favor.
And that HP lead that Yogurt had in the beginning with their lineup is starting to melt altogether, and they are permanently spotted. It's a hard game for them right now. I mean, Alex has taken some damage. He's not in the best position, actually, in that mouse. They're starting to shoot away at him. He will heal up an angle. He has found a position in which he's safer. And as a result, they give up on this potential kill on Alex. And now you can see Kvik and Ramadik just getting absolutely blasted by Baku, Rishek, Alex, the whole team. And Rishek now on the run, though. Maybe he went a little bit too far, Kihan.
Indeed, it seems like Rishek has committed in a little bit too far. He is in the healing phase of his ability, but he is also in the reload phase of his gun, and he is going to get completely found by all of the Yogurt tanks. That does even up the playing field a little bit. Still one more gun on the field for Lotus here, but it is an RHM. It is kind of limited compared to other tanks, and now the tanks of Yogurt in full assault in the southern area of Ensk. They're going to find some low HPs. Milo is a two-shot, the same for Baku. Those for 30Us really coming in clutch. The strike is even going to confirm the kill, so that is the reset probability gone for the strike, but they do give it up for a good cause. They do give it up for netting more kills. All of a sudden, the tanks are even again, and the cap is far from being complete.
They still have a very good position, though, from the side of Lotus. They have Sir Jacob now taking the strike. Mindbreaker cannot push him. Lukin is covering him. Chuck is covering him. Liquor makes a peek. Gets a shot as well. All the things starting to edge the way of Lotus again, and Sir Jacob will even make it around the corner there without taking a shot. Even better. Love to see that for them. And now 1.5k lead for the side of Lotus. Chucky and Alex playing on these positions, covering as well. Lukin taking a shot of damage though. Humble trying to get Jacob, finds a shot. Mindbreaker now pushing forward, finds another shot against Sir Jacob there. Finds one more. It finds even another. And now Liquor will die, but Sir Jacob, they're giving up his life far too easy in that Forge B. Alex will immediately retaliate and find a kill. And now Lukin will take a shot from Lave. No, he will not, but Alex, luckily enough, bounces the last shot there from Mindbreaker. Keeps him alive. Lotus almost don't want to win this.
Yeah, Lotus here, they are so close. Everything that stands between them and Onslaught Legends Series Season 3 is actually 3 tanks by Yogurt, 3,878 HP, subject to change, obviously, because of that Force B heal ability. And now Lotus once again start up the cap with 2. Lukin is once again going for the strike, and Yogurt, what can they respond with? Actually, quite some interesting stuff coming out from Humble now with 1,000 HP on that Force B. He would obviously be a one salvo for Chucky and Alex, but Chucky sees it coming here. The base capture does get held though, because Mindbreaker is on the cap with the Fosh B of his own. He is inspired by the 1-2-1B, and in comes iHumble from the other side. Good track shot on towards Chucky, and the power of the Fosh B once again reigns supreme as Yogurt managed to stay alive in the match.
Yeah, it looks like they will survive a little longer. Humble still has a lot of shots available, so Lukin is going to be taking quite a bit of damage there. A strike coming in as well will drop him to a one-shot. And yeah, Lotus giving up this round, Kihan. Sure, they did a lot of damage to those German heavies on the 5 line, but the loss for it was extreme. The amount that they had to pay was not worth it.
I tend to agree. I mean, there is a world where Lukin does manage to pull through here. He outspots Mindbreaker even with that little RHM. And ooh, nice play. Does manage to put himself up and put a shot, but LeVay is there to profit off of that. And Yogurt manage to stay alive for now. It's going to be 2-4 after Ensk.
Good stuff from Yogurt to bring that back, showing that they're not out just yet. Not yet. One more round in the tank, potentially.
Yes, well, it's certainly going to be one more round in tanks for them, as Lotus, they are still on match point, and I think this particular round serves as a reminder to them that, you know, even after winning possibly against Yogurt here, it's probably not going to get easier in the coming season of OLS, but they need to make it here first. And rounds like those are always the most tilting, where you're probably very aware as the team of Lotus that there was the possibility to win, you just didn't do it.
Well played there by Humble, LeVay, and Mindbreaker, the 3 of them, and including Liquor. I mean, they get 7 kills amongst them, so definitely bringing their team across the finish line.
Yes, putting the team on their back, all the 7 kills between them. And that leaves the only question to be answered. Which map are we gonna go to next?
You tell me, Kian.
I tell you. Okay. It is going to be Airfield.
It's gonna be a very slow game.
It might be. I mean, looking at this, I would be kind of concerned for Yogurt now, not only obviously because, well, Lotus is on match point, but also the other map that's kind of slow and tactical that was played so far. It went 2-0 in Lotus's favor, even though, well, Ghost Town wasn't being played in the most slow and tactical way. It's just the general feel of the maps that Yogurt, they can definitely hold their own in shootouts. If they get good openings like on Cliff, then they have what it takes to bring it home. But, you know, if Ghost Town is what we're going off of, then Yogurt on Airfield is definitely in trouble.
So, 5-2, we lock it in, Key?
I mean, I predicted 5-3, so
wow.
Let's see how it goes. Yogurt. It's do or die once again for them. W100 Mouse, 1 bad chat, a 430U, a Mino, and an RHM.
Lotus, double 50B, and even 100, a T57, a BAT, a CS, and an AX. Well, they're going aggressive somewhere, Keyhand.
The CAX actually kind of out there, right? We don't see it, like, it's not completely unheard of, but we don't actually see it that often on Airfield. So Lotus coming with a pretty nimble lineup, if all things considered, against the heavy lineup from Yogurt. There is only less than 2000 HP between both of those teams, but realistically, the only frontline tank on the Lotus lineup is that E100 of Baku.
You see the double 50B though almost immediately making their way into the camp. LeVay will not be reloaded. And with the setup from Yogurt, they're not going to be taking that strike anytime soon either, Kihan. So they'll have to manually block the cap by the looks of things.
Yes, and this is indeed where we see the Super Heavies marching as Lukin takes 2 from LeVay. And the Minon Tower of Girls is now cooled down and having a look what he can do. against the cap attempt by the team of Lotus that is obviously ongoing, and those double 50Bs, they are going to unleash hell on towards Rachmedik. That being said, it is still a mouse, so even double 50B is not going to be enough. They will have to ask for support by the T57 Heavy of Sir Jacob, as Rachmedik does get clipped out upon, and it is indeed a lot of punishment, and those 50Bs, they can pull back, they can reload, they can rinse, and they can repeat. That is not what Yogurt want to have happen. They want to push those 50Bs off the cap. The T57 also clipping out, but that is the triple tier 10 auto reloading heavy tank, all of them on reload. Yogurt, they need to capitalize now, but Lotus, they're fading away.
Lotus trying to disperse left, right, and everywhere, so Jacob ready to get pushed on. There's no strike available right now for Lotus, so they will have to block the cap one way or another. They do have Baku from behind, so Jacob finds another target in that T57. Isolated Mindbreaker. Alex coming out as well, so that's going to be a big clip. And all of a sudden, all of the Lotus tanks peeking from that corner. Mindbreaker's like, huh? He's dead. He's out. Just a quick turnaround. Those 50Bs disappearing, popping back up, and they find that lonely E100 all the way by himself out in the open. And for Lotus, that was a beautiful pickup.
Absolutely. Lotus find the first super heavy on the lineup of Yogurt, and with it a lot of damage as Lukin gets found now by Liquor and Quick in the RHM and 430U respectively. And now Lukin down towards a one-shot here, down towards 8 HP. Liquor chasing after him, trying to get that final kill on the board, but he does end up fluffing the shot. So Lukin stays alive, but just to run into the arms of Quick, as Rishek also kills girls here. And now LeVay trying to provide the crossfire in the bat chat, but the Lotus 50Bs have once again reloaded, and they are starting to open up fire on towards the next super heavy tank of Yogurt. And Lotus, they did manage to qualify for Onslaught Legends Series Season 2, but here they are back with a vengeance. We are going to see them in Season 3.
Yeah, Lotus locking in their position for Season 3, and I'm so glad to see that all of us get to watch self-proclaimed Messi of World of Tanks return into the Onslaught Legends Series. Chucky!
Indeed, he is a very, very vocal player, but I don't think anyone is going to debate that he's also an absolutely crazy good player in this. So Lotus, they are going to qualify. Congratulations from our side. Also, congratulations for you for predicting correctly.
Did I?
Yes.
I'm so not emotionally invested in this whole prediction game. It's you know what? I really hope, I need to check. I hope Phil can do the math in the background and see, because I'm pretty sure I closed the gap with Moff a lot today, and he's gonna be huffing, puffing, and probably not be very happy.
That might possibly be the case, but obviously after Lotus now qualify for Season 3, for Yogurt it is not all over, because there will still be a couple other chances to sneak your way in towards Season 3 of the Onslaught Legends series. But yeah, first of all, as we have another announcement to make here, we are going to do that right now. The relegations for the OLS, or rather the OLS OCS relegations, are going to be happening on February 26th. And there it's going to get figured out which other teams are going to make or might not make it in towards Season 3. So definitely something, if you're following all of this Onslaught content, that is a date that you should mark down in your calendar.
Yep, indeed. February 26th. I'll probably be watching it, I think.
Yeah, maybe even casting. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows? Who knows? Potential's there, right? Depends on who's playing, of course, and if I don't have anything else to do in my very packed schedule.
I mean, sir, this is literally free content for you. But yeah, first of all, let's take a look at the post-battle results, as this is the game where Lotus have made it back in towards OLS. And we do see, well, you know, autoloaders, when they get to freely do their clips and get to reload unscathed and then get to do more clips, they can be kind of powerful. Who would have thought?
Yeah, Jacob had a banger of a game there. And you know, the biggest issue there was this immobile lineup from Yogurt got caught out. That one E100 changing the tide. Before that, they actually did a good job of decapping, pushing them back, forcing those tanks from Lotus to run away. But once they got that isolated E100, everything changed.
Yeah, indeed. And it's just, you know, the autoloaders being able to slowly pick apart this very heavy and immobile lineup by Yogurt. I mean, if we take a look at it now, realistically, the only quick tanks are the 430U, the Batchat, and the RHM, but those need to be super, super afraid of getting caught by the 50Bs, and the likes of the Batchat, and even the Centurion AX can be a menacing prospect for those tanks, because the HE has pretty good pen, and all of a sudden, that Centurion Action X, even if it self-inspires, can be super dangerous. But yeah, that is going to conclude this season's Onslaught Champions Series. Once again, congratulations for Lotus. They weren't able to be here for OLS Season 2, but they'll definitely be there for Season 3, at least if everything goes according to plan, because, you know, originally they were supposed to be in Season 2. But yeah, congratulations, Lotus, for making it. Pretty convincing victory, 5-2.
Good stuff from them. Congratulations. Welcome back. We love to see what you can do in the future, but that is for the next season. That's a little bit in the future still.
It is a little bit in the future, but that just gives more time to prepare to all of those teams. Talking about all of those teams, we do know that Ping and Bobers have been knocked out. They'll have a shot at qualifying for Season 3 too, though. And W and Darkside, for them, I mean, things are kind of taking a turn for the worse, especially for W, because before today, before this cutoff point, they were in, I believe, 4th place. But that has been claimed by LTP. So the French, for once, are advancing in the leaderboard at least, and they want to join Cashback, who are already confirmed. And if I'm calculating everything correctly, I mean, Mafia are not yet through, but for LTP still to claim their spot, I mean, they would have to lose everything, and LTP would have to win everything cleanly, which is kind of unlikely.
Very, very unlikely. It's LTP is 6 points behind on the maximum of 8, so the odds of this happening are very, very low. And yeah, I mean, for W, Keyhand, if they lose their next match, which is against LTP, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Darkside somehow beats Cashback, all of a sudden, they're equal on points.
Yes, exactly. And I mean, well, let's see. I mean, it is all still up for grabs, I think, is the most important takeaway, just like the OLS points or the OLS tokens that you saw there. And as this was the second to last Sunday of the OLS Season 2, I think it is fair to remind everyone that next week we'll go a little bit crazy with the tokens that you can earn. We are going to have a next stream that is going to be kind of normal. There will be 4 tokens available there. But on Thursday already, I think we're going to knock it up to 6. And then on Saturday, it'll be 6 again. And then on Sunday, you'll be able to claim a total of 8. So don't miss out on all the content that we have for the next week. That being said, the content for today, at least on this stream, is kind of over. But the content, hopefully with extensions, is going to keep going on this guy's stream. He just came back to Vienna and from Vienna, and he is here to deliver hopefully a lot of cool action towards you. You'll be able to keep claiming drops there. That all being said and done, thank you all very much for tuning in. We'll see you next Tuesday at 5 p.m. UTC. That is 6 p.m. Central European time. Peace and out.
了。